Good afternoon. Welcome to the Annual Conference and Awards 2021. Today we have an array of eminent speakers lined up for you. We'll start the day with a keynote address by the MD of HP India, Mr. Ketan Patel. And after his address, we'll have a 45-minute member panel discussion on the tab difference. Post the discussion, the CEO of Tab Global, Mr. Jason Sickerman, will speak to us. And then we start the exciting award ceremony preceded by the thoughts being shared by our expert panel, Mr. Deepak Thombre and Mr. Ullas Deshpande. Again, let me remind you, all participants should use the YouTube Live. Only speakers, panelists, and award nominees need to log into the Zoom link, which has been sent by mail. Panelists should log in at 3:40 p.m. and the award nominees should log in by 5:10 p.m. So let's begin, guys. I would like to now invite Mr. Ramaskrishnan, our MD of TAB India, to conduct the proceedings of this event for the rest of the evening. Ramas?
Hey, thank you, Ravi. I'm a very, very warm welcome to everybody on the conference, the speakers, the guest panelists, our guests, and of course, our members and the TAB business owners. Exceedingly pleased to welcome all of you to this conference and to get started. I extend this welcome on behalf of my fellow shareholder and also my life partner, Lakshmi Ramaswamy, our Chief Operating Officer and facilitator of PAR, which is Ravi Mani, our Head of Marketing, who handles a lot of magic in the back end, that is Bharati, my fellow director who's been with this journey and all my business journey all through, Mr. Anish Sheshadri, and my friend and partner, Dhananjay. On behalf of all of us, a very, very warm welcome. Right, I'm going to do something that I haven't done ever thus far, which is repeat a set of slides from the last year. I'm really, this is a first, and this year I know there have been many firsts. But for those of you who were in the conference last time, you'll see the first set of slides repeated simply because I just couldn't resist, right? I was relating this story from Jataka Tales the last time. I'm sure most of us as kids have seen the story and said there are these birds flying, and birds are good because in a way birds are lovely because it sort of represents who we are as entrepreneurs, right? The freedom to fly, the freedom to make decisions, and also the freedom to just soar the skies, and they represent a lot of what our dreams are. However, as the story goes, once there is a hunter who's laid a net in the forest, and a bunch of birds get trapped just because there are some seeds there of food and they couldn't resist it. And then suddenly the net falls on them. So yeah, we also can see some stuff which looks like opportunities, but they could become threats and somebody catches us. Now they're struggling, right? They're absolutely struggling and they don't know what else to do. And they are squeaking and squawking and stuff like that when they actually hear a wise bird sitting somewhere far away. And the wise bird speaks to them. Now, I know, and I'm sure all of us know what happened in the story, right? The wise bird advised them and said, hey, look, one by one, you can't even bite it and you do whatever you want and it will take time, because the wise bird sitting on top of the tree could actually see a hunter coming, right? Otherwise, there were many strategies, right? In our life also, there are many strategies where we could try to do what yesterday one of the speakers rightly said, incremental improvement. We could do some stuff, but once in a while you see a hunter coming and we just don't have the time. We just don't have the time to do what seems right, but we just can't do it. And that's when creativity, innovation, all the stuff that comes in, right? And suddenly this bird advises them that all of them should fly together and actually raise the net and fly away. And that's just what they did. Now, we have heard this story many times, but as I grew older, I guess I saw a very different perspective to what I saw in the childhood. Childhood, we were taught that we should be together and unity wins, and those are all there. But always this wise bird seemed wise to me in life simply because he or she was not caught. It's only after I started my journey as an entrepreneur, I realized very often the wise bird is not wise because he wasn't caught. Because very well, he or she could have been caught. There's no difference. But the wise bird termed to be called wise because he or she was away from the net. That's it. And therefore, the same faculties, the same facilities, absolutely everything that was open to the other birds was seen in a different perspective. This wise bird could think different simply because you're not caught up in the process. And the wise bird, because he or she was on top of the tree, could see the hunter approaching, could see the threat. This to me has been a magical revelation. All the birds are the same, but very often it doesn't require us to be extra wise. It doesn't require God to give us that extra skill set and magic and intuition and status. It just requires us to build perspective. And very often, the perspective just means staying away from the picture and being able to give a wider perspective. Now, I can't imagine anything other than the story to represent what we do at TAB. Simply because all of us owners are all in the same situation, but we are able to help each other. I'm able to say the story because last year, exactly in January, while I was presenting this very story, there were umpteen reasons to look good, and we were looking forward and we were gung-ho. And now this January, we were faced with the contrary because we now had umpteen reasons not to have this conference, right? We could very easily have postponed it and everything could have worked, but hey, none of our owners, none of the SMEs, none of our clients really stopped working in the last 1 year. If anything, they have multiplied their effort. I must say that the last year has been interesting, to use a very understated word, right? And just interesting. I don't want to add any adjective to it. But the first thing we must do is our heart goes out to every single person who had a personal disaster in the situation. We know of so many people who have suffered bereavement. We know of so many people who had situations which are very difficult, and our heart goes out to them. Having said that, while the economic indicators, the country's indices, and the news channels give us every day lots of reason to be really afraid of and lots of reason to be frightened about at a macro level, I'm sure each one of us have realized one thing, that in this very same period, most of us have had immense personal victories. We found those islands of strength. We found those islands of excellence. And of course, personally speaking, we found magical time with the family. Those of us who have been healthy, it's God's grace that we've been great. And we've seen so many situations where we have found different ways to come out. And very often, the biggest thing for me has been with our members is their ability to stay back and sometimes take decisions which otherwise they were just not able to do while they were firefighting. So even while our country was stuck, our companies were stuck, the trains are yet not working, people are stuck, we were able to be a little wise, or those of us who could, we were wise, because we realized that while the situation is caught up in the net, as entrepreneurs, as individuals, we could still afford the luxury of being outside the net. And if we choose to, we could take a different perspective and fly away collectively. That to me is interesting. So yesterday somebody said, our German friend yesterday who was in the panel discussion said, in Germany, I believe they have classified the SMEs into 3 categories. Those which are the winners, those which they believe will do well and survive maybe in the long term. And then there are those which they may not survive, right? And I'm sure they've been very arithmetic about it. But if I look at it that way, we all say we are in the same storm. You know, there's one WhatsApp that I forward that I really got in this pandemic, which was magical to me because it said that we are all in the same cyclone. We are all in the same storm, but hey, we are not in the same boat. I know we use this very lightly. We keep telling we are all in the same boat. We are not in the same boat, but I want to remind everybody here today that we are definitely not in the same boat. We are in the same storm, but we are in different boats. And how we navigate that boat is going to determine how we will survive. So it is not a question of doomsday. It's a question of understanding how we are, and therefore I believe we are just blessed. We are just blessed to be here, and we are seeking an opportunity to celebrate. Because what more can we ask of? April and May, when we are struggling with salaries, when we are struggling with employees not being able to show up, we were worried about severe cash flow problems. There were so many things on our mind, and I will tell you numerous stories of how those happened. But the fact that in Jan 2021, we are still able to get together for 3 hours maybe to get that perspective, to see that picture from a little bit away and be able to celebrate, God bless all our dreams. And that's what I would like us to ask for. And therefore, we are here today on time, albeit virtual. I would like to have hugged all the people here in the conference, shaken hands, and done all the things we do in a live conference. I wish, and I hope we will do it together very soon. But having said that, the fact that we are together and the fact that we are leveraging technology, which is unbelievable and connected us internationally, I still think we have to cherish that. And therefore, the theme of the TAB conference has been to connect, collaborate, and celebrate, and that we will. What does TAB do? Just in a minute. I mean, it says that TAB talks about shared wisdom and bottom line results. Now, I am focusing on this in the initial. Very often we believe that bottom line results just come from the way we do our business. Yes. But very often, where do we get that ideation from? And I say this, I know Mr. Ketan Patel has joined us already, and I know he's from a large corporate, and I was in corporate for over 25, 30 years in large. And I know that if I wanted to find a bright idea, I just had to get out of my conference room to the coffee machine, and there were 10 guys who were, not 10, maybe more, who were brighter than me. And I would come back with a brilliant analogy, a way to solve the problem. But if you're an SME entrepreneur, the most common thing that an owner says is we are alone at the top. And therefore, there is a sense of lack of accountability because on one hand, hey, I am the Gunda in my business. And for those of you from different places, I am the Don in my business. But being a Don has its disadvantage because there is nobody to look up to. And you have to look down for everybody else who's trying to sort of kick you in the back. And therefore, it is necessary to have some peers. And that's what TAB does. It builds accountability for us as owners with fellow peers. Not about people who we report to, we hate that. And that's why we are entrepreneurs. And not about people who are actually looking up to us for all the solutions as well. No, but we are having a set of people who appreciate and understand where we are and are prepared to hold us accountable, mind you. Not just give us advice that they think is accurate. The second bit is clarity of advice. Doing business has never been black and white. Doing business has always been gray. And especially so, all of us fellow Indians, we know. There are lots of things that cannot be put into Google. There are lots of things that cannot be put in a PowerPoint. There is no amount of learning platforms, no amount of knowledge guru can tell you the tricks and stuff that can be recorded somewhere and played back because business requires a lot of tactical, on the ground, so to speak, gray things, which a researcher can come back afterwards and write a book about. Mark you, people can write a book about afterwards. But when you are there needing to take the decision, should I take a new factory? Should I drop my products and start selling masks? Should I allow my employees to come because people are worried about their health? Should I open my factory? I had a capex decision, and these are all live problems we've addressed in the last 8 to 9 months. Should I cut my salary? Should I ask employees to go home? Who should work from home? Who should come? All these decisions, and that's where entrepreneurs come into brilliance because they're able to appreciate, understand, and give clarity of advice that resembles what the owner wants. And finally, being part of an international community, we have an enormous global enablers. And we have today Jason coming up a little bit later, where we are talking about the amount of international connect that we have because that's genuinely helped us do where we want, because we realize one truth, that owners are owners anywhere in the world. With that, I want to say that this time the sales opportunities, profitability, team harmony, retention has all gone up with multiple stories in TAB. And I'm very proud to say in the last 1 year, in this tough period, we've not only retained our customers, we've doubled. And we are 55 plus, Ravi tells me yesterday, it's a matter of pride. Our ability to have members with us in this time, we've quadrupled our support with them. They've been with us all through. And more importantly, we've opened up, apart from Pondicherry, we've opened up in Chennai, we opened up in Surat and Rajkot. So it's a great understanding of how a deeper engagement can really work and how fellow entrepreneurs can help each other. With that said, I just wanted to spend a minute in lighting up our lamp. I know that, you know what, I would have loved in a normal circumstance like last year to have lit the lamp by many hands sharing and coming together. But you know what? Nothing can stop us from sharing our prayers. So we recorded a video because for me, light is something that represents energy. There are some things that diminish when you share, and there are some things which magnify when you share. All positive things, love, joy, happiness are like that, and light represents that to me. So with that, I'm just going to sort of request, as I said, my fellow shareholder and director, Lakshmi Ramaswamy, to light the lamp, and we've done it over a video. And like I said, we may not be able to light it together, but let's indeed pray together. with that token gesture, on behalf of all of us at our members, our speakers, our community, and everybody who supported all of us in this journey, a very warm welcome, and then we get started with the agenda for. Firstly, I think any session needs to start with some honorable mentions. And I know I'm a couple minutes late, Ketan, just give me a sec. I'm just going to shift on back to you. So honorable mentions, I'm going to do it periodically during the session. I just want to start off by deeply appreciating our sponsors who've been there for this session. We have our speaker sponsors, Rodo and Loopify, who had sessions yesterday, who've been kind enough to address our member participants. We've got our event sponsors, Akshay Investment and Haram's Food, who have been kind enough to sponsor gift hampers and also share in the expenses. We're very proud to have them. And also sweetening. We have our own member sponsors, Dasitaram, Karaikal Iyengar and Venkateshwara, who have actually shipped goodie bags to all of us here, all the members on. So it's a very sweet way of getting started. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you. We are extremely proud to have all these logos with us at the event. It goes a long way in motivating us, and I look forward and thank you very much as we go along. Great. So we start our session with the first magic. That is, we have with us today Mr. Ketan Patel, who is the Managing Director and Head of Hewlett Packard, HP. Who hasn't heard of HP, right? I mean, everybody's heard of HP. And he's the head of HP and he's the head of India operations, and India region for HP here means India, Bangladesh, and Sri Lanka. And he is the managing director across all business lines. Earlier to this, he's been based in Singapore as the vice president and head of HP's personal systems, right? And Greater Asia with categories that included countries across Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Southeast Asia, and Korea. He's been in IT pretty much his journey. And he has worked earlier with Wipro Infotech and TVS Electronics in India and driving their printing business. He has over 25 years of experience in the industry and a consistent track record of growing and transforming businesses, right? His title and where he is just simply says volume, right? I don't need to really say this. And he's basically holds an electronics engineering degree from the University of Pune, plus from IIM Kolkata, and also done a graduate diploma in international business from the Helsinki School of Economics. This is his background, but I want to share a small story before I hand it over to Ketan. When he was kind enough to sort of connect with us and share, hey, who are the client? How do I need to talk to them? It was very kind of him to share that time. But one anecdote reminded me. I was going to tell him that my last name is Krishnan, and in my family, I'm possibly the first quote unquote Tambram or Madrasi, as we are called in Mumbai, to be in business. And Ketan nipped me to the bud and he said, hey, you know what? My surname is Patel and my entire family is in business, but I'm in corporate. So here we have a person who has a business background and a corporate credibility to tell us entrepreneurs what it means to scale a business, especially focusing on sales and people, which are the critical aspects. Over to you, Ketan. A very warm welcome. Appreciate your time and look forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Ramas, for a very kind introduction. And thank you, TAB team, for inviting me today. I hope I'm audible. Just want to make sure that my audio is okay. All right. So thanks again. And thanks for a great introduction, Ramas. It was always a pleasure talking to you, and your passion, the way the journey of TAB last 1 year you spoke about is just phenomenal. And I can only just state that as part of the corporate world, we also work with a lot of owner-based businesses, a lot of our partners, channel partners, system integrators, value-added resellers, distributors. They're all owner-based businesses, and the way they have managed pandemic, and I'm sure a lot of you in the last 1 year, is just phenomenal, because the spirit of entrepreneurship really comes alive in these tough times. And Ramas, as you rightly mentioned, right, all of us are in the same storm, but how each one of us looks at differently by being in different boats is a great example of how an entrepreneur spirit is all about. I'm very passionate about this subject of owner-based business. They're very near and dear to me. As Ramas introduced me, as my name suggests, right, I belong to a community where most of my relatives are in businesses, and most of them are entrepreneurs or business owners. And I have grown up in these surroundings from my childhood, where, in business families, the discussions are always about business, apart from politics, which all of us love. But as a child, when I grew up, this was always the surrounding I was always around. And most of the discussions were around what has worked in a specific business or a situation, what did not work, what did some of our relatives do in that situation, and what did some of them didn't do, what issues they were facing. And in that journey, I've witnessed businesses flourish, some businesses die, some get reinvented, and some get thrived. And this has actually shaped me who I am today. And to what Ramas said, that when I did my education, I thought this is a great opportunity for me to use some of this business knowledge and join the corporate world and have an ambition to really run a business for a large multinational corporation. And I'm thankful that HP gave that opportunity to me to really do that. And today I'm very, very privileged and proud that I'm able to do that in a multinational corporation. Apart from my social experience, I also had a privilege to work with large Indian corporates, as Ramas introduced me with, like Wipro or the MNC like HP, where I'm there for last more than 15 years plus, who shaped what I am today, apart from my early days, which I just discussed. And I feel extremely lucky that I have both these sides in me, which gives me tremendous confidence when I really look at how I approach the situations. And to me, as all of you know, HP embodies the spirit of owner-based business. It's actually as all of you might know, that HP was the first original startup started by two friends, Bill Hewlett and Dave Packard. And they shared a vision back in 1939, inventing a better future for everyone using technology. And that was their vision of how can they really create better future for everyone using technology. And their garage was the birthplace of Silicon Valley. And as I look back, I imagine the contributions to the society and the community, what these two gentlemen have made by creating Silicon Valley, which actually runs the tech ecosystem of the world today, or the globe today, as I would say. And I'm sure wherever they are, they must be very pleased to see what they did 81 years back and what has transpired today for a lot of communities and a lot of us who are privileged to be part of that journey in direct or indirect form. So today I will take an opportunity to share some of the learnings across both sides of my life. I hope this will be helpful. I'm sure some of this will be, as an entrepreneur, I genuinely believe that probably you have seen all situations in your life and you know probably everything, but it's always important to really put together into perspective and then probably share my thoughts, which could be very, very helpful to you, is what I hope throughout this session today. Okay, so what I'm going to really focus on is that how do you really reinvent the business, or keep creating business which can thrive and build the future. And to start with, let me start with the biggest questions which owner-managed businesses have asked me, or I have been surrounded with questions and the kind of discussions which always have been time and again, and not in the specific period now, but any time over the last 30 years I've seen this questions remains constant. The timeline changes, but the questions are the same. And some of these questions, which you will probably, I'm sure, relate to are, I developed the business from scratch as an owner of this business. No one is nurturing to the next level, the way I see it, but unfortunately it is not moving there. My business is doing extremely well, but not growing good enough, and it is becoming stagnant, and I'm not able to understand how to really make that breakthrough. I have a constant worry of some external parameter, like the pandemic situation, which all of us faced, which was like an unprecedented one. But any such external event will just disrupt my business and completely destroy it. The other big question in our industry I found, which is getting asked by a lot of owner-based businesses, is that my next generation does not want to do business I am in. He or she wants to do a completely different thing. And I have spent so much of energy to develop this from here to this level, and now they don't want to be part of it. What do? I don't have enough trustworthy people whom I can run my business on. And I just can't, I'm not able to do that level of delegation because I find that that becomes the biggest issue for me. I'm the only salesperson and the marketing person. I'm not able to find the right level of sales teams or people who can really run for me. And if I find one, they want to start their own business because they feel extremely confident that they can replicate what I did. And why should I teach them my tricks of the trade? These are no simple answers to any of these questions. And I'm sure, as I said, you would have faced this and you would have answered it in whichever way you would have in your businesses. But these are real issues, and real issues which a lot of businesses are not able to overcome. And even after doing their best, there are issues which remain unaddressed. So let me share my perspective and framework, which I firmly believe in terms of how to really make business thrive. And I'll now share a few slides. If you let me just pull out and get the slide deck up. Okay. I hope it is visible. Somebody can just message me on the chat. That will be great. Okay.
Absolutely.
I want to start with this picture in focus. And I'm sure a lot of you would have seen Formula One, car racing, even if you're not a big fan of this game, but definitely you know the concept of pit. And this is how all businesses operate, irrespective of small, large, or whatever. This picture clearly signifies that everybody is focused to get that one person on that driver's seat, win and be successful. May it be world-class sports, that single hero will always get projected by media or whatever, but then end of the day, the contribution of people around is something only that person will know, that without those people, that person is nobody. I think it's very important to internalize this, even if you are an owner of any company, while you are the boss of your own company, end of the day, you are nothing without the people who are supporting you. So without this passionate, trusted, and committed employees or team members, no one can really succeed. You will find many instances, actually Ramas touched upon his introduction about these things, where two businesses have similar opportunity, similar resources, similar situation, or they are operating in similar geography at the same timelines, but one will just thrive, another will just survive. With similar situations available to both companies, there is definitely a difference, right? Why there is a difference of one versus others? And I think that is the question which we need to answer. And of course, what I can share is my experiences and my thoughts. End of the day, there are so many management books and other things you can really refer to, but net reality is that there can be a lot of preaching, but you need to internalize few things which you genuinely believe in and really get committed to implement in order to really make this journey happen. So how do we really move from surviving to thriving? How do we really break the clutter? How do we move from a very localized company to a nationalized company to a global company? How do we build businesses which can not only excite your generation or one generation, but generations after generations in your family who want to be part of this entire ecosystem? How do we move from a company which says only one man runs this company, I am the boss, to everyone who feels this is our company? How do we move from I report to none behavior? Actually, it's like I'm the boss, I am not accountable to anyone. And that's the beauty of corporate world, that even at whatever level you are supposed to really there is always somebody on top of you, right, who will really check in terms of what things. And in entrepreneur, and that's a fun part of entrepreneurship, but that's also a pitfall, which I really love the concept of TAB, that we need to really figure out, how do I move from I report to none behavior to a philosophy that I actually am accountable to everyone, and everyone has a lot of people involved in it. So in order to drive this change, there is a process we need to go through, and I'm sure some of you are going through this process, and I just want to touch upon the concept of this process. Clearly, the bold ambition is must. whatever size of the company you are running. The example which a reason I gave is not because just I'm working for HP, is that two people who started a garage in a Silicon Valley had a bold ambition. They started small, but the ambition was always big. And it is very natural to entrepreneurs, right? That's the reason why you are entrepreneur, that you always had a bold ambition, and that's why you chose to be part of the entrepreneur journey. And hence, once you've done the first part of your startup, where you know which business you are in, I want to be in a pharmaceutical business, or I want to be in FMCG business, or I want to be in the tech space. Once you have decided, narrowed down, and cleared thinking about where you want to play, most of us actually make a mistake of not shifting to the next gear. Because when your business starts running, you feel happy and you feel this is the only way things have happened because you've been successful. So nothing wrong in that belief. But that belief of being successful in a certain way becomes a problem more often than ever. So a bold ambition has to be backed by a much broader and a bigger purpose. Apart from running profits. Profits is very, very important for any business. Don't mistake me. But profit is not the only reason why you actually exist to do business. And I think as long as you are able to build that purpose, then the magic will happen. Because everything which you do is actually connected to a purpose. People understand purpose, they don't understand profit. That's how human beings are. And that's how the tuning is. So what is the purpose? A purpose is something which is something beyond you or something beyond profits. It's about communities. It's about society. It's about people. It's about employees. Don't mistake me that when I say purpose is about corporate social responsibility, because that's a different way of looking at community service. But purpose in the business can be beyond the CSR part of how you are really building your enterprise with a broader purpose in mind, which I spoke about around communities, society, people, employees. For example, if you open a plant, if you are a manufacturer, into a geography, into a specific village or a town, what will your business contribute to that village or town, and how can it really make the people of that city prosper? I'm just giving an example of a manufacturing plant. It could be multiple examples you can actually do by creating a broader purpose of what you want as an owner to actually achieve. The Silicon Valley example I gave is largely to make sure that you get connected, because what those two owners started back 81 years, they would have a much broader purpose in mind rather than just earning profits. And that is already been written by many. If you read the book called HP Way, you will find that how purpose was the big thing in the formation of HP, what the two owners did. So how do you really transform lives of people, right? Some of you must be already doing by transforming lives or livelihood of many through your manufacturing plant or services business or whatever business you are in. Some of you are also giving better future for the next generation of the people who are working for you. They are able to create better generations because of your work for your business. And some of you are impacting communities in such way that they are today striving. So once you are able to create a broader purpose into your own mindset, your actions will automatically change to a much broader purpose. And because what I'm saying, it's like that having a bold ambition, having a great vision, there are not new things. But why, as I said, one thrive and one survive, is because when you don't link broader thinking into your mind, your actions will be always tactical. It will never be broader. And that's why it's very important to get the purpose right. And this is this purpose which will actually glue people together. Your employees, your customers, your communities who serve you, the society on which you operate, everybody will come together. And in order to execute the purpose and ambition which we spoke about, there are two broad areas of leadership which we are very, very important. The personal leadership, and purpose is an element of it. But I wanted to touch upon purpose first before I introduce personal leadership. It has two other elements in personal leadership. It's about people and culture, and very, very important elements which we need to really look at. And then the other aspect is about which business you are in, or what the brand leadership you carry. It's about your product, services, portfolio. It's about the processes which you are adopting as the company. And it's about the innovation you are driving in your respective businesses. And that's more about how you really drive brand leadership. So let me touch upon both the concepts quickly to introduce some concepts which are very dear and near to my life and are something which has been really helpful to me also personally. On personal leadership, apart from purpose, people and culture are the two big elements which we need to be really very, very focused on. We have to be sensitive and accountable to the fact that every person who works for you puts his life at your work. As an owner, you may say, the job, they are doing a job, so what? I'm giving them money. But end of the day, please understand they are investing at times 10%, 20%, 30%, or 50% of their actual life. At times more time given to you than their families. So it's extremely important that you understand how important it is people who work for you day in, day out. So we need a culture of people which is inclusive. Sometimes entrepreneurial spirit leads to a situation that it is my way or highway. And it doesn't allow us to build inclusive culture. Variety of people, and that's the beauty of corporate world. The diverse set of people brings in immense amount of thought leadership, which each one of us individually can never do. So it's very important to build diverse team and drive inclusion in order to really get the best out of people and drive innovation, which at a very different level. And need to put a significant emphasis on talent management and leadership development. One of the biggest pitfalls which I've seen across many of companies whom I've worked with as owner-managed businesses, that there is no proper talent management or leadership pipeline development process. And it's a very important factor to really look at. We need to hire different and diverse people in order to build collective minds, as I already spoke about. We don't want to create replica of our own. Other mistake which people make is they hire people who are very similar to their thought process, and that doesn't build any diversity kind of thought leadership. And then on the leadership and talent development, as owners, you should ask question to yourself, how much time I am spending myself in actually building talent and people leadership? Because at the time you actually invest in that area, you will get huge returns on investment. The way any business owner understands, everything is ROI. The ROI here is a softer ROI, but it will give you tremendous levels of multipliers, which you can't even imagine. So businesses should really take care of employees first. I worked in a company earlier in my career where they actually believed in making employees a shareholder of the company. Right? It's not about just sales incentives. It's also about making employees shareholders. And now the idea is replicated in most of the multinational corporates or in Indian corporates where employees get stocks, right? But that idea was done by someone 25 years back, I remember, when I joined early in my first company. And we should now, in whichever way, there is no like, this is the only way to do. But we should figure out how can we make our employees part of our business, shareholding, profit, etc., so that it is beyond salary. Salary is just a base thing for what somebody actually earns. The real motivation comes beyond salary. And that's how we need to really see how am I really creating policies for people to help them. And don't ever think that if I'm giving profit, it's a gift to them. It is not a gift. They have earned through their hard work and their contribution to the company. So with such people practices, you will find dignity, character, and human spirit like never seen before. And the productivity levels can be very, very different. From a culture pillar, who builds the culture? Culture is built by you. Culture is nothing but the DNA of the company. What you sow, you will reap. As I said earlier, if you compare two companies and if you actually go to their premises, similar companies, similar time frame, similar resources, you will find a very different environment in both companies. What is this environment? This environment is nothing but a culture. Who drives this? The owner drives the culture of what the organization is all about. And it's a very, very important aspect of really, it's a fabric which you create, uniqueness for your organization, which you need to be very, very mindful of. For example, what kind of policies you have and actions you have around ethics, compliance, or business conduct? A zero tolerance on ethics, compliance, and business conduct will drive more trust and accountability of every action somebody does in the company. Reward and recognition programs through a pure performance-based evaluation rather than favoritisms. And how do you really drive that level of culture? Celebrate small wins and occasions. Make the place to be fun and engaging. And sometimes some places are doing very well, but they can be very boring. How do you make your place more fun? Small victories can also be great for people to enjoy and get together. Create environment of open door. Don't keep cabins. The reason why open door policies are run by companies is that cabin culture is gone. People have to really come up to you openly and share what they think, and you should be open. And there is a concept of servant leadership, if you would have read. Leaders are all servants now. They have to just listen to people and then serve. And I think as long as you create an environment of open feedback, you will really get the real employee voice and the feedback at the right time to take the right decisions. As Ramas was saying earlier, business decisions are never easy. They're always gray. But you can make better decisions by keeping the door open and keep the feedback coming and insights coming, which will make you a better decision maker. And create an environment where a young or an old man or a woman, a local person from your city or a person from any other state within the country or any in the country, if you are a global company, feel equal. And that is all about cultural elements of how you build a company. And that can really significantly change the landscape of how the future of the company is defined. Like I give you an example. If somebody asks me a question around personal leadership, I have a simple model to remember, and I try to emulate that in my everyday work, which is IDEA, IDEA. And I there stands for inspirational. And why I say a leader has to be inspirational, because without inspiration, there is nothing. And inspiration can be done only if you have purpose. The purpose point, which I spoke about. Purpose is the only way to inspire. Whatever pep talks you give, it will excite people for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, but everybody will forget. But if there is a purpose, the inspiration is constant. D stands for decisiveness. IDEA, ID, which is leaders have to make tough decisions. And that's why I was talking about that. How do you make better decisions with gray information? And that's where the openness culture comes very, very handy. And you take tough decisions, even some of your family members may be unhappy, so be it. E stands for empathy. Leaders have to be empathetic. In today's time, gone is the attitude of bossism. It's about empathy. And you as a CEO, MD, needs to always believe that I report to everyone, not everybody reports to me. While you have the command and control, the behavior has to be very different. And IDEA A stands for attitude, an attitude which has to be agile and adaptable, because in today's world, things are moving rapidly. What you're facing today versus what you will face tomorrow is changing at a very rapid pace. It's very important that you have a culture of agility and adaptability. And that is actually a core of any entrepreneur. So I think it will come very naturally to you, but it's very important that you take care of that. So that's on the personal leadership. And on the brand leadership, you need to really focus on three things, which is one, about portfolio. Your current portfolio, product, solutions, and services. You need to think about, what is my current portfolio? The current portfolio is actually serving current market. And at the same time, you need to really start thinking about portfolio for the future, 2 to 3 years down the line or 5 years down the line. And how are you keeping your entire portfolio innovation game, whatever products or solutions or services you are in? It's very, very important to understand how we're really looking at the portfolio by dividing your business into current business and what you want to do in the future business, and run both this thought leadership in parallel so that you don't lose out. The second thing is around processes. In today's time, everything is going digital, as you know. So digital automation is very, very important. And how are you really embracing? And this is the field I am in, right? We sell a lot of tech equipments to our customers. And one of the biggest difference which I found in my job, which I did for Asia Pacific and now in India, is that companies we talk about China being so ahead, is that they just adopted digitization and tech adoption faster than any one of us in India. And that is making a huge difference. Apart from there are a lot of other things, but this is one of the biggest difference, which I feel our people have taken a lot of time. What kind of ERP, what kind of automation, what kind of change management you are driving in your processes to make it digitally ready, to get customer obsession at the center of everything what you do. And that will drive innovation. And innovation, again, is a cultural element, which I spoke about earlier. So how do you really drive that? So, and then one last thing in the innovation part is keep yourself updated on mega trends, industry trends, and the culture of innovation will continue to drive. So, with personal leadership and brand leadership, just don't lose your entrepreneur spirit, because I believe that sometimes organizations like us who become very big, we lose that entrepreneur spirit, which is very, very critical of what you actually do on a daily basis. So risk taking and managing gray, what you do very well, continue to do that. So in summary, let me quote an extract from a very recent TED talk, which I heard, and I'll share that slide with you so that it can be useful to you at your time, at your leisure time. And that quote is, if you are right with your community, if you are right with your people, if you are right with your products and solutions, you will be more profitable, you will be more innovative, you will have more passionate people working for you, you will have community which will support you, you will have your next generation who will be finding a broader purpose to take the legacy forward. And if you do this, there is no way that you will not thrive. I think it's a very interesting TED talk, which I think you should definitely refer to. I was very, very inspired by that. And at HP, just to summarize, our founders didn't revolutionize technology. They reinvented the culture of the business. They challenged corporations to serve a greater purpose and propelled a movement that gave meaning to work. And that is what HP is made of, and survived and thrived after 81 years of various good and bad times. So I'm truly proud to be one of the beneficiary of legacy created by Bill and Dave. And you can do the same actually by creating a legacy of your own. Go for it. And let's light up your dream, as Ramas introduced initially, that this is your time. And this is the time of entrepreneur spirit to really get to a very different level, because the world is really flat, as you have read the book. And you can reach any part of the global world today to really make it happen. And these are the two references which I wanted to leave your thoughts with. The 5 timeless principles of HP Way. Some of the concepts which I spoke about, you will find here, and the anti-CEO playbook, the TED talk, which I just referred to. So my best wishes to all of you, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share my thoughts today. I hope something will be helpful to you, and you will take it back and implement few things which could be very helpful to you. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. It's not easy to communicate what you did in the time span that you did, but really appreciate it, and getting this view from a person who's running a large corporate. I love the idea of brand and the personal, because we at TAB, we say, look, your business is different from you, and the combination is what makes sense, and therefore that was very, very exciting. I wish we could have actually given you a gift hamper in person, but a gift hamper is going to find its way to your home very soon, right? Thankfully. And I want to leave you. Unfortunately, we don't have time for questions because we're running short of time. But first, 2 things. Firstly, I want to thank you for agreeing to be part later, right? We welcome you to log in at any time in the conference, because we would like you to hand over an award to our winners a little later. But I want to leave you with a very naughty question, and you don't need to answer it now, right? You can email it to me, I will celebrate it, right? But I really don't want you to answer it right now. But the naughty question is, hey, do you like a MacBook or a Dell?
What do you like, a MacBook or what?
Or a Dell machine?
Okay. I don't want to answer it, but I can always answer it. You already heard my passion about the company, so I like whatever they make.
That's what we hope to hear. Thank you very much, Ketan. Appreciate you being there.
Thank you.
Right. So we're going to move on to the next session right now, and I hand it over to Ravi, our facilitator, COO, to take charge of the panel discussion. Thank you, Ravi. Over to you.
Yeah, so the panelists are here. May I welcome Piyush Shah from Titan Labs. Piyush, if you can say hi, then everybody will see you.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon.
Hey, Piyush, good to see you. Kunal Bajaj from Punjabi Gasitaram.
Afternoon.
Kunal, you there? Okay.
Hi.
Damodar and Ravi from Classic Molds. Ravi?
Yeah. Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good to see you, Ravi.
Yeah. Thank you, Ravi.
Tangamani Maran from Geno Maran.
Yeah. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Good to see you after a long time.
Thank you.
Bimal Mehta from Vakils. Bimal?
Hi. 1 minute. Start my video.
Yeah, please.
Yeah. Can you see me now?
Not yet.
Whoops. It says, I don't know, but hi everyone. I don't know why the video is not on, but please.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have Rakesh Kumar from Karaikal Iyagars. Hi, Rakesh.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Wonderful to have you guys here. I think it's been, we have met, all of us have met together multiple times. But today, what I want to do is explore how you have all been part of TAB for the last few years. Some of you has been there for the last 2-3 years now. So I wanted to explore how the TAB has made a difference to you, both in your business as well as personally. And maybe you can share your experiences so that others also can benefit. Right? So let me start with Piyush first. Piyush, why don't you start off this panel discussion on how TAB has contributed to your business?
Well, definitely. I would first say it has greatly benefited to me both personally and professionally. I think when you join a board, immediately you start trusting all the board members, even though you have never ever met any of them. And I think that's the first thing I take away from the board meetings is trust. There is an absolute and 100% trust and faith in whatever any of the board members is advising. And I think with the TAB ecosystem, we have knowledge and experience of more than 50 different companies. So I'm sure in future also it will help me. I remember the first time when Ravi was my coordinator in the first board, and he has asked me to define my personal goals. And I took at least a month to define my personal goals, and it would sound very mundane, but I decided to teach my son how to ride a bicycle, and he was already 7 years that time. And it made me realize that being successful in business doesn't mean you would be successful as a father or as a husband. So that was my first year personal target, to teach my son cycle and maybe spend 8 hours a week with them.
Yeah, I still remember that. I still remember that conversation. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. And I found the 8 hours also to be very difficult. We are so stuck and, like a horse mold, we look at our goals of business and we forget our personal life. So I think that was the main thing. And the goals that we need to define, and our board members ask us questions and they hold us accountable to it, both personal and professional, has definitely made me look at numbers or even activities that are required. And the annual sales plan that we do with Ramas, and from last year we have been doing the business blueprint on the TAB website. Those have been amazing tools. And of course, we use that in all our meetings and our planning with our own fellow managers. And the most important is, I think, the sounding boards. Sounding boards have helped us to anticipate problems and solve it much easier. And I think with a great less amount of stress, right? And that is going to back to my first point of that we have experience of more than 50 owners and businesses.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe this has made me a better leader and definitely a better family man. So.
Oh, great to hear that. Yeah, I'm really happy to hear that.
Definitely. And it has helped us to look at our siblings who are in the business, in a better light, and knowing that is not an isolated issue or, challenges that we face. Everybody faces the same. And we found better ways of handling such issues, which have given amicable solution. And ultimately, a family business is for family. And if you leave out a family member, then the business, I think, has lost its value there itself.
Absolutely.
And that's where the tab has really, really helped me.
Wonderful. Yeah. Great to hear all this. What about Mr. Maran? I mean, you're coming from Pondicherry. Let us see now what happens there. Here.
Yeah, of course, sir. Many points.
How do you
which have
find
been-
tab impacting? Has it impacted your business?
Yeah,
Anyway.
we are into tab for the last 1 year.
Yeah.
But I'm able to see more transformational changes in my business and my personal activities towards the business also. And as Mr. Piyush said, no, the sounding board is a great opportunity that we get great ideas and advice from other business people who are having more than 20, 30 years of experience, and they are able to advise us financially, strategically, and in other ways also. And beyond that, I could plan my strategy of my personal goals, my business goals, all these things. And there are very, very good, nice thing which I'm seeing out of the tab is that they are hand-holding us always. So there is a system that they want us to do it, and they will be checking it further, and there will be a training session, and there will be month-on-month sounding boards. And even we are little going away with these things. Immediately they will pull us back and they will advise us how to go about that. And this has helped me to understand certain things also. When I'm going for a video presentation by Ramas, I just understood what is a no complaint policy. This has helped me in a lot way in making my business ways, how I have to take my business towards this goal. So that my whatever be the technical add-ons I do, the no compliance policy has helped me so much. And beyond that, the vital few understanding. What are all my vital few? Where all I should be there? I must concentrate on my business. And to identify that, there was too many exercises, and they made me to go through that. And I understood where all I should be present and where all my staffs and my managerial cadres to be present. And these are the ways where I got a very good understanding about tab procedures, and tab has helped me to understand even what is the throughput and what are my fixed expenses and what are my variable expenses. And therefrom, I got a very good idea that with the fixed expenses, what I am spending, how I should manage to maximize my throughput. With the existing staff pattern, the existing fixed expenses, there is a way to it also. Once I worked out it, I understood that this will also help me in getting a great percentage of my business profit in all my businesses. And I also learned about, by knowing about the vital few, which kind of project I should take. I'm a builder, I'm a promoter, so I have to look which kind of business I must be concentrating so much on, so that my business activity, my fixed expenses are compensating me very well. And this is the way I am looking at. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Very clearly, tab, you both have taken advantage of tab for improving the business. But now let us turn to the personal side, because tab is all about both business and the personal, right?
Yeah.
Piyush briefly mentioned about that it also helped him on his personal side. But let me ask Kunal, how has tab, can you share with us how has tab helped you personally? Not so much the business, but on the personal level.
Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, tab has helped me greatly. Now I'm actually individually more aware personally. It has helped me in getting things done. Now I plan my every day and I have pre-booked, time slots to get the maximum out of my day. It has helped me in defining my goals, follow a concrete plan to achieve them, and a review mechanism supported by accountability to check the success of what I planned in the first place. Tab actually has made me realize that the personal happiness, satisfactions, your dreams, your goals, aspirations, and things that matter to me the most are the most important in driving myself. Nobody else can do that for you.
Absolutely.
So as business owners, we get bogged down with a lot of excessive responsibilities and baggage. Tab has given me the confidence to think differently and look at challenges in a different perspective. It has also helped me in restructuring my business, realigning my goals, redefining the plan for the future. TAB has actually negated my fear of failure. I think that is a very important point. It has changed my mindset completely and given me the clarity of what I really want to do. TAB has some great business tools and personal tools. I like the complete setup actually. And Ravi, along with the board members, are very supportive. They go out of their way to help out. So TAB completely, the entire setup has helped me to grow personally as an individual and also greatly in my business.
Very good. Excellent. What about you, Ravi? How has TAB helped you personally? You're on mute, huh? You may want to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I should thank Ramesh and Madhavan who brought me or introduced TAB to me. Through them, I came to know about the TAB and also had an opportunity to listen to the speech delivered by Ramas when he was doing it to our association in Chennai. And so that was the occasion where, first of all, I came to know what is TAB and how this organization functions. And that first meeting itself was a good impact. It created a kind of a good impact to me and also to my friends who are now the TAB members, TAB board we have formed. And even the first meeting I remembered, Ramas was telling me this powerful statement like, and there's a standard phrase of we all sailing in the same boat. And he said, no, it's not that we are not sailing in the same boat, but we are sailing in our own boat, but in the same storm.
Yeah,
in the
absolutely.
ocean. And that's a very difference in the understanding for the phrase. And that's very true with all of us steering our own boats. That's our business in a competition environment of this storm. So, but this TAB really helps how the fellow board member friends sailing in the same ocean, how we can able to help each other to reach our goal or destination. That way, I really appreciate, and also we are just about 7 months old, joined in TAB. Probably comparing to the other friends who have spoken just now, maybe we are a new entrant to the TAB. So, but it's good that it's late than never, better late than never. So and particularly what I like the way the TAB, the structure of this total, being a part of an international organization, and over a period of years it got refined and beautifully structured. Because normally there is a saying, the lawmakers are the lawbreakers, and normally as an SME is the owner of organizations, we have our own certain lot of leniency, but even for the point of attending the meetings. In the TAB sold that the meetings has to be on time, and any default that has to be a penalty. So this kind of a discipline, self-disciplining, because as you said, as the entrepreneurs and being owners, we think we are above, and sometimes we take things granted. And it brought in some kind of a basic discipline. And as a leader, we should set in a lot of discipline in the way the entire TAB meetings being structured, which are really gives the focused attention and also with the precise timings. So that's what really impressed me. And I'm also really happy to be part of a global organization where it's not only we as an SMEs, we try to be on the top or alone. Like the today meeting also, Ramas told, and most of the SMEs are on the top and alone, not like a corporates where there are people there to guide or help. So at least in this TAB, we could able to discuss our things, not only the business, as I said personally, they're also there. So what I particularly like is also whenever we start the meeting, we discuss about the Bharati, the T2B1 is what is the first thing, the top two, bottom one. So that in fact makes us to think. In fact, many times otherwise it won't even, we never things, a lot of good things happens, but we never even able to appreciate the good things happens in our life.
Absolutely. No, in fact, in our boards, we make it compulsory that you have to identify at least two. Kunal, you agree? And actually, it brings us the positivity, the positive thinking. You're absolutely right. Yeah, very nicely pointed out. Yeah. Great. Bimal. Now, Bimal has been a person who I have been working with personally for the last few months. Very interesting personality. very, very diligent. And he's one of the guys who has used the TAB ecosystem very brilliantly, in my opinion, in a very short time. Bimal, how do you think has really TAB helped you personally at a personal level?
Thanks, Ravi, for that compliment. Like Ravi just spoke, I've also just joined TAB 7 months ago, and I think this was probably the best decision I made last year. I kicked myself for not having joined TAB earlier. Ravi, I'm not saying this to get brownie points from you, but you've been a fabulous mentor. I have gained so much from your advice, and as you know, I was all over the place prior to our one-on-one meetings with a complete lack of focus. What I've really learned from TAB is the importance of long-term planning, measurable, and measured, measured guidelines and all that, so it has been, you've really taught me to, think in that way. You've also, as an entrepreneur, we need to focus more on strategy, leadership, people, processes, and kind of not get so involved in day-to-day operations and kind of get the best people to do that for us. And I think you and TAB have helped me, on that front tremendously. The TAB blueprint, as you mentioned, is a great tool. Starting with the DISC assessment, I remember it was, when I did that, I realized that how incredibly close it was to my personality. And, there were things which probably I didn't know about myself, which came out in that report.
Yeah,
and in
it's
fact,
very interesting.
Yeah, in fact, I joked with my wife and I showed it, and she thought I had actually sneaked out in lockdown to visit a psychotherapist. He says, "How could have this been so accurate by answering a few questions?" And I said, "Well, I don't know. It's the beauty of this whole model." And, prior to TAB, in my business, all I did was prepare a detailed budget. And, I thought that was the be all and end all of my next year's planning and nothing else, the company vision, strategy, strategic advantage, SWOT, it was all there in my head, but it was, it took me quite a bit to actually put it in writing. It was one of the hardest things I did in April, and I, spend a lot of time working on that. And I think it was just putting it in writing was incredibly difficult and hard. But, we tracked some KPIs, for instance, but, never systematically. I think that TAB blueprint has helped me put all of this in perspective and all of this on one common platform. And, even I think at the end of it, my top management, which really didn't have any visibility of the company's long-term, vision, my vision, now have more clarity on this. So I think, it's helped me tremendously. And I think, it's probably the best thing that I could have done.
Nice to hear it. And although you praise all these things, you talk about TAB being a great tool, but I think it's you owners who actually make it happen, okay? Yeah. Because we can always take the horse to the water, but can't make it drink, right? So I think you guys are utilizing the tool well and actually utilizing the board well, and that's what is giving you the benefits. Right, Rakesh, you have been a very silent spectator. Let me get you into the discussion. Rakesh, you there?
Yes, sir.
Great, yes. Rakesh. Why don't you tell us, why did you join TAB, or why should any SME owner should join TAB?
So most of the SME owners, we start our business as a domain expert, sir. We start our business as a domain expert. We worked tirelessly for years, for years we worked tirelessly, and suddenly we realized that we have shifted from our original vision. TAB will help us to, TAB for a business owner, for a SME owner, will help us to realign our vision, realign ourselves with the original vision. So TAB will help us to design our business in such a way that our personal vision is realigned. So the one major thing why an SME owner should join TAB is, every day we are into firefighting. Every day we deal in lots of firefighting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said. Yes.
For me, as a SME owner, even though I was successful, TAB helped me to realign with my vision. Even though I was firefightings, TAB help the business owner in planning such a way that designing a business such a way that your firefighting is less in your day-to-day activities. So, as my facilitator always used to say, we might have many employees do lots of activities in a business, but when it comes to growth of your company or moving one step forward, it's the business owner who needs to act. So TAB, TAB will help a business owner to bring in a culture to spend some time entirely to think on the business. So I always used to remember Mr. Rama's words that what brought you here will not get you there. So as a SME owner, we will be successful for some time. To move from a particular point, even I also faced a business. Suddenly after 10, 15 years, our growth was stagnant. To move from that point to another point, what brought me there, the same ideas will help me to go to the next point. So in that way, we have this TAB is helping me a lot, sir. In TAB we have a peer board members. I used to bring discussions with them. Normally, a businessman used to take lots of decisions.
Yeah.
So this TAB, we used to bring in lots of discussions with my TAB members, my peers. Now we are taking solid decisions on business.
Yes, and I see you growing pretty well, huh?
And thank you, sir.
What about you, Ravi? Why did you join TAB, and what would you advise other SME owners about joining TAB?
See, as I said, most of the entrepreneurs are sailing alone, and many of our times we are trying to reinvent our wheel. Say the wheel need not be reinvented again and again. So, but unfortunately, because of our isolation at the top, everyone is trying to reinvent the wheel. So, with this kind of a TAB, where the reinvention of wheel can be minimized because already somebody has done it, and we can share their experience, and probably particularly like a sounding board, which really helps. You can throw many of your things, and very useful and productive solutions you can able to get it. From what the problems if you are facing for a prolonged period could be solved in no time. So that's many times this is a very powerful, and even when we went through this DISC report, which was clear, it's like a mirror, which was first time I undergone a DISC report of so many years and in my lifetime, and it was a very beautiful. When I shared it with my family members, it was a kind of thing, fun, everyone enjoying the statements. That so perfect it is matching to me. And so whether it's a DISC report or one-on-one meeting, and even the SWOT analysis. See, many times we never even had opportunity to. We are so busy in our work or whatever we call so-called, and we don't even have the time to sit and ask some critical questions like which TAB makes you to think about. Like that's what is your strength, weakness, or opportunity threats, and
absolutely. And most of the time it's all in the head, we don't try to put it down on paper.
Or put it documented properly.
That makes a difference.
That really help us to make that documentation and structuring it so that when it makes you to think and work towards that.
Great. Kunal, I'm going to ask you, tell me one small episode about your journey in TAB, which you think has, which will be interesting for everybody to hear. Anything happened? Any interesting thing has happened for you?
There have been actually a lot of interesting. TAB has been a very interesting story. It's been a great journey. And I'd like to share something. I'm sure all of you must have heard about the most famous constraint by Ramas and by Ravi. It's the business owner.
Ah.
I want to talk about the theory of constraints. So,
okay.
which according to, by the theory is a method of identifying the most important limiting factor, the constraint. And this theory, was introduced to me when I was doing a coaching session with Ramas at Sofitel. And it really intrigued me. Because I think it's a very, very important concept. For a business owner's mindset, especially this year. This constraint ideally stands in your way of achieving personal or business goal. Manufacturing could be a bottleneck. But for a family-owned business, it's the business owner. And more importantly, his thinking. Because he's the one who is the leader for that business and the family. So, this concept was, great. And, this story actually, Ravi, has helped me in changing the way I think, my thinking process.
Very nice.
The throughput accounting and, like earlier people said, it's made, reassess the issues at hand much easier. And to be honest, it has made me realize to actually address the weakest link in the chain and finding the right solution by addressing that issue at hand. And the second would also be the owner accountability, as the owner's action leads to the future of where they are going, or his family is going, and his business is going. So that really got me thinking as well. So thinking change karo, to life change karo. So that has been an interesting take.
Great. And I can see the difference in you.
Yeah.
Over the last couple of years, I've been working with you, so I could see the difference. Yeah. Good. Bimal, what about you? Give me one story here, something interesting.
So, Ravi, as you know that in my company, we have independent board of directors.
Yes.
And recently, some time ago, I put forward a branding proposal for their consideration. And one of my independent directors, who was formerly head of Eastman Chemicals USA, he was heading business strategy there. And he says, prior to embarking on this branding exercise, we need to do a complete internal assessment of the business. And he says, according to me, this will take 2 or 3 months, for you. It's not an easy thing, so keep the branding proposal aside. And he said he had followed a similar strategy at Eastman Chemicals. So I said, okay, great. I didn't know what he really had in mind. In a couple of weeks, he sent me a list of tasks that he wanted me and the team to work on. And guess what? It was exactly similar to the TAB blueprint, completely. He wanted me to prepare my vision, SWOT analysis. The strategic planning was absolutely, completely mirroring TAB. And in fact, Ramas and Ravi, you should try and demand royalty from Eastman Chemicals for using some of your ideas. It was absolutely, and it took me all of 15 minutes to reply to his email. I just had to go to the TAB dashboard.
But I thought you already share the TAB blueprint with reports with them, right?
No, I had used the TAB structure, but they had not really seen the TAB
they had not seen the report.
They didn't see the actual dashboard. And so, I used the KPIs and the strategic planning, but I kind of moved that into a PPT. So they didn't really have visibility of, the back end of it really.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
great.
They were like, he was like, what is this? It's like, he was completely blown away. So I think that has been, they were, completely taken aback. And that's when he kind of, the light bulb flashed in his head that, yes, now I can see why your presentation to the board is so different from what it used to be, and because so I think that was a great story, which thanks to TAB, I was able to kind of, my directors were really happy with that. So I think it was,
wonderful.
Yeah.
It's really motivating to hear such things, by the way. Okay, Piyush, back to you. I would like to hear from you. Would you like to see something added to the TAB system? I mean, system, when we say we are talking about boards, we're talking about sounding board, we're talking about, anything, any ideas that you feel we can add on to TAB?
Definitely. If you remember, Ravi, during our board, we used to have visits to the factories of board owners.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So we had gone to Size factory, right? And I think that is still needed, maybe not on a monthly basis, but even if we do quarterly basis, visit other board members' factories during our monthly board meetings. So half a day could be board meeting and half a day could be shop floor visits. And I think that would greatly impart us knowledge on how they work, what their real problems are. And maybe we can also pick up few best practices, what they do on their shop floor.
Yeah,
right?
it
So
makes
I
a
think,
big difference. I also agree then. Yeah.
Definitely. And also during COVID now, for 8-9 months, we have been in the houses or, very restricted. I think this would be a great move, to jumpstart our traveling. So that was one thing I missed a lot. I think the second would be, since TAB is international, why can't some of us Indians be on international boards permanently? Yes, time difference might be there, but I have seen my
That's an
other
interesting idea.
board members, like, definitely, we have seen all board members attending from US, or from Germany, wherever they are, at 3 in the morning or 12 in the night, just to attend their board meetings. And I think this could be a great way for people who are looking at international exposure, or who want to upgrade, or as simply it could be part of their business strategy to be present in a specific country. That could be, I think, a great incentive to move ahead in TAB. And last is, in COVID, we have realized there has been so much information and laws that had come our way. So if you have more professionals on the boards, like lawyers, investment bankers, or specialist doctors, or even NGO, we have all been talking about money. It would be great to hear from somebody's side whose objective is not to make money, but, to do a betterment of the society. What would their challenges be, So I think that would also be a great add-on to all our mindsets, where money is not the only thing. Society, or, common goals could be a much higher calling for all of us. Because ultimately, you, Ramas, all of us have told us, we have to create a value for an exit. And I think the biggest and most fearful question is, what do we do when we exit, So that gives all us, I'm sure it gives me nightmares that if somebody offers me a good value for my business, what I'm going to do after that. So, NGOs or other professions could, ignite what we would like to do, or maybe, associate with them in the long term.
But we are very open for such memberships. There is absolutely no restriction. Anybody who wants to grow, it could be an NGO, it could be, and growth is not only in terms of numbers, right? It can be in any other terms. And I would welcome our members to refer to us, any people who you think can become TAB members. I mean, we were very fortunate in the last 1 year, this has happened. We have now become 56 members. And next year we should become much bigger, but I think we should be able to refer and see if you know anybody from your network who wants to be able to bring in lawyers or service, that professionals. I think we are all welcome here. Please do that.
Definitely. I've been trying to give, them an offer to do a couple of, attend somebody's board for one session or something, and I talked to Ramas about it also. But I think that would be a great move. It would add,
I think so. I think
a great
I think it'll
value
add
to
a
all
lot
of
of
us.
value. Absolutely. Fantastic. Maran, what about you? I mean, would you like to suggest anything to be added to TAB? Any improvements or improvements in any new things that you want to see added to TAB? You're on mute, Maran.
See, as a SME business owner and first generation business person, we need more of guidance. And we see a lot of benefits which we are getting from TAB. And apart from that, destination, what we are looking at every business SME, they don't want to stay on as an SME, they want to travel and reach a destination of a corporate, maybe. So to that level, if something has to be done, how it has to be done, the pathway, and the main thing which I am looking at is that the organization chart, how it has to be in a large business. This kind of advice we are expecting. And as well, as well as every earlier member, as he told, we may be permitted to take part in other boards which are senior to us, at least 2-3 years older than us. Then we could see what kind of difference and what kind of activity add-on they are doing, and we could have such a thing in our boards also.
Yeah.
And more particularly, say if advisory on taxations, tax savings, and corporate secretaryship, if these things are available either through a member or through TAB, it helps us so much, because we expect that the TAB is solving so much of things. Why don't it help us on these angles also? These things we are expecting, and more particularly when we are going to manage our staffs, when we learn from certain things from TAB, like they are fixing us, what are the KPIs, what are the vital few, and we need certain supports from TAB. Our staffs, our managerial staff, our top official staffs also can be fixed at that kind of reporting things, and that kind of guidance, if it is available from board, which will be very much useful for us to copy it, and at the same time make the our organization to grow in such a way that TAB is also helping us as a business owner. I'm only learning from them. So these things will help us, that my people will also get benefited, and we will also have a benefit out of it.
Fantastic. Rakesh, would you like to add anything? Any suggestions from your end?
Yes, sir. Sir, as Bimal Mehta said, TAB has everything, right? It's 30-40 years of experience. Everything is inbuilt in TAB. The two things I want more is, I like to have more workshops, workshops on knowledge,
knowledge workshops, okay.
Peer kind of workshops, because the key to a successful business is planning. So we want to use the tool in TAB called strategic planning. So we want more workshops on how to use that strategic planning more effectively.
Okay.
So because that tool it's a total comprehensive blueprint kind of tool. So as a business owner, I feel I'm not leveraging the total benefit of the tool. So I want more and more inputs on that. Then I would like to have more knowledge sessions on employee management, more knowledge sessions like this, Otherwise, TAB has everything. The one thing is we need to explore many things from TAB.
Guys, I'm so happy to hear all this, the benefits that you guys have derived from TAB. And let me tell you, it gives us immense motivation.
Thank you.
To spread this initiative to other owner-managed businesses. So we also made note of your suggestions regarding TAB, and we'll make all efforts to incorporate them. And really looking forward, as Piyush was saying, I think we should be meeting physically very soon. So really looking forward to being with you guys again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks for coming on the panel today. Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Ramas,
you, dear.
yeah.
Thank you, members. Really glad. I know Jason was early, and I just thought maybe it's a good idea for him to just listen to the members in India speak as well. So as you can see, we have Jason Sickerman with us. And before I jump in, right, and sort of give him an introduction, right, I wanted to say a few things. First thing, I think Jason has woken up by choice at 3:30 a.m. in the morning from wherever he is to take this call, right? We did give Jason an offer to video shoot the recording, and he could have done that. He's had a very busy few weeks, and I know, and few international calls I have done, which he has taken. But he chose to be here, and I think that's great. So Jason, firstly, before even any formal introduction, I want to thank you for waking up at 3:30 on a Saturday and being here with us at 4 a.m. It really matters because it's great. And even, along with the formal introduction, which will come in just a second before I hand over to him, there are some things I want to say to him as a person, right? And the most important thing I realize is, I want to share this personally, and it's a matter of thing that made me very proud, is when I first landed up in US, for a discovery day, and that's what TAB calls it, right? When we are evaluated, I am there to assess them, they are there to assess me, and we met the leadership team. I walked into that office, I stopped my car, drove out, got out, and the first thing I looked at was there was a flag post outside the TAB corporate office. And I've said this to TAB a couple of times, but I want to say this to all the members, is I found a flagpole outside TAB, and there was the, of course, the American flag, there was the TAB flag, and there was the Indian flag. I was there for probably a day's meeting or a couple of days meeting, and the TAB India flag was flying before I walked into TAB for the first time. Right? And today I'm proud to see TAB India's flag flying there along with 22 other countries. Now, this is a gesture. Why do I say this? Because coincidentally or not, TAB launched a culture program called Caliber, talking about how we are all high caliber, and we have shared that with all your members, many things. I'm not going to go into that. But I wanted to say that the caliber has been really tested in the last 1 year, right? And one of the first things Jason said in the meeting when we got together first time in COVID, and I'm sure all of us were scared. Were we scared? Of course we were scared, right? Quite honestly, and I'm sure all of you were. But you must understand that being in a service industry, and I'm absolutely happy saying this, I've said it to each one of you when I met, is that the service industry is the first thing on a cost budget to get out, right? And when you're in a tough situation, right? But in spite of it, TAB globally has grown. Countries have been added, members have been added. I will leave Jason to say it, but India is a proof of that as well. Why? Because we played offense. In Indian language, in cricket, Jason, that's called going to the front foot and lofting the ball for a six. That's what you called as playing offense. For us, it's going to the front foot in cricket, and that's what we did. And so the ability to keep the culture together, and see, working with business owners is difficult, right? I'm sure we know how difficult we are. And the fact board teaches us to work with difficult people. TAB is working with business owners in 22 countries, and Jason is leading that pack, because none of them, quote unquote, of the masters are employees. Each one of us are individual owners in our own right, and yet managing to keep culture together is no mean achievement, right? And therefore, that's what I want to tell about Jason as a person, right? And let me move it forward then, and therefore, taking it ahead. So let me introduce Jason formally. Okay, now this is the formal introduction, Jason. I think Jason's individual contribution has been TAB's global scaling, right? I can't read this. I've got to say it right the way I know you. It's a landmark success in the way TAB has grown globally, and Jason has been part of this journey for a while. It is a family-managed business, incidentally, and that's what makes them understand us very well, right? And they've taken it from a world's largest for-profit business coaching service organization in the SME space. And that's a great achievement. We are proud of to be part of that community. Being a business leader, obviously, he has a broad sense of specialty. He speaks on various keynote topics. He's been visionary in leading his own business and helping others. Prior to TAB, he's got a lot of senior business level experience, and he mentions hospitality very often, which is tough. Before he came in, and his entrepreneurship has been in display. So he's energetic, as you will discover very soon. And the fact that he always leaves you with a few thoughts and audiences with some thoughts that are tangible, right? So I was greedy. I told Jason, he spent some time yesterday, wanting to make it contextual. He was interested to know that he can deliver value, and it was amazing. So I told him I'm greedy. So I want you to sort of spend maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes talking about what you want to talk. And I would like you to talk about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, Jason the person. So, and I think that matters. That's what we are here to listen to. So with that introduction, Jason, I am sort of passing the baton over to you. Very, very warm welcome. Extremely glad that you're with us today live.
Well, thank you so much. And I am excited to be here. At the end of the day, let me share my screen here. I did have the option to make a video, but I didn't want to do that. And the reason I didn't want to do that is because, hold on, let me figure this out here. Why is this not in presentation? Bear with me. How do you put it? Do you guys see my slides?
Yeah, Jason, we can see your slide, though. If you just click the speaker notes down, we will. It's perfect.
All right, you can see me now, right? Okay. I wanted to be with you. I was supposed to be there with you when we were supposed to be together. And this was going to be one of my favorite trips of the year. So I wasn't going to send a recording. I wanted to be here and talk to you and see your faces and have a chat. So thank you for having me. Thanks for inviting me, Ramas. And I thought I wanted to share some thoughts that I've been thinking about for a while. Excuse me, I have a little something in my chest. And then, of course, I want to answer any questions or comments that you folks have. But before I get started, I just wanted to say congratulations to the whole community out there. We have really grown, as Ram has said, around the world, because really at the end of the day, we have never been more relevant than we are today. This is when we really shine in times of disruption. But India did a great job. Over 100% growth last year and 100% retention. That is fantastic. And I loved listening to what the members were saying about things that they would like to see new or improve for TAB. I love hearing it. But during this time, during COVID, how everyone collaborated, how you worked together, how you shared your resources, how you supported each other is nothing less than inspiring. And I want to say thank you to all of you. I want to welcome, I know that we've expanded in India, and we have 2 new regions coming online with 2 board members from Pondicherry and Chennai. I'm sure I'm going to butcher some of the names I've never been very good at pronouncing some of the cities there. And we have 2 new TAB business owners in the regions from Rajkot and Surat. I'm sure I heard that one too. But welcome. The fact is our footprint is growing and expanding. And I'm just so proud and delighted. And next year we'll be all together and we will break bread and start building a relationship in person. So I thought I'd share some thoughts I've been thinking about for a while, and I've been sharing it with some folks. And I thought maybe you'd find it interesting as well, because this has been a weird time. If you really think about where we are, 2020 was not a very interesting year, right? I don't think any of us would recommend it. It's been a year like no other in our lifetime. And many of us would probably love to forget this very unforgettable year. Think back to the beginning of 2020. The economy, for the most part, around the world was doing pretty nicely. And many of us were feeling pretty good about our business and optimistic about how our business would perform in 2020. But I want to ask a question. How many of you actually had a pandemic as one of your risks when you were doing your planning for 2020? None of us, absolutely none of us. And it was strange how it all started, wasn't it? There were rumblings about a virus, but it all seemed so far away. It seemed so distant. And then out of nowhere, just like that, bam, it hit us like a freight train. Lockdowns were starting, and many of us as business owners were really scared about how our business would survive and what would we be doing in the new reality. Well, I have to say that, when I think about it, fortunately, us at TAB, we knew that when we were in this storm, that the one thing that we had to do was remain calm. And the reason we could say that is we've been here before. Over the course of the last 30 years, TAB has guided our members through multiple downturns. And we even started the TAB concept back in a recession in 1990. And between 2000 and 2003, we helped our members navigate Y2K, the dot-com bust, the 9/11, and from 2007 through 2009. We helped our members go through the global financial collapse way better than most folks. And so here we are again, 10 months into a global pandemic. Well, the fact is, whether it's due to a pandemic or an other type of challenge, all of us, all business owners will encounter some storms. Clear skies are going to ultimately cloud over and things are going to seem dark. They absolutely are. There's no way about it. And these can be very scary times. They can be uncertain times, especially for us as business owners. And when the lockdowns began, I know that many of us weren't really sure about what our next steps needed to be. However, I'm absolutely confident. I absolutely believe in my heart of hearts that we all knew that the response that we did take was not to just sit there and do nothing. You see, one of the biggest factors that I'm finding in succeeding despite challenging circumstances is our willingness to step into the storm. So what is it? What is it that makes us more willing to do that than others? And that's what I'd like to share with you a little bit today. You see, I believe that TAB members already have more safety, more confidence from a storm than many other business owners, leaders, or entrepreneurs. And that's because when you surround yourself with a trusted board of advisors, a coach, you benefit enormously from the collective wisdom of that success of those business owners who have your back, just like you're experiencing right now with this meeting, where people share their experience only to help you make better decisions. I love this formula, E plus R equals O. See, in Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles, successful people, they take a different response to events. Now, you might know Jack Canfield as the publisher of a book series called Chicken Soup for the Soul. But in the Success Principles, he wrote this formula, E plus R equals O, which really stands for events plus response equals outcome. And what that means is events happen. We can't control that they do happen. But what we can control is our response and how we respond to them. Now, most people, when they experience a bad outcome, they blame the event, or they create excuses for the bad outcome based on bad events. It could be the weather. It could be the government. You think we have a little bit of government problems going on right now? I don't want to talk about it. Being raised in a broken home, not having the best education, you name it. If there's going to be a negative outcome, it has to be because of a bad event. But you see, Jack noticed something different. Jack noticed that successful people, they did not respond to negative events in the same way. And that the only way that we have better outcomes in our life is to have better responses to events. Like this pandemic, it's out of our control. But the only thing that's going to produce a better outcome is by changing our response to that event, by leaning in, by going into the storm, by playing offense. And to be successful in life, we have to change our thinking. We have to be able to throw out our old beliefs and develop new ones. And we have to change our behaviors. Now, Jack noticed that not only do you have to change your behaviors, though, and change your whole mindset, that you have to, when you play offense, when you lean in, that it's about taking action. It's not about burying your head in the sand or ignoring what's going on around us. That's not what we're talking about. And yes, let me be clear. I don't want to oversimplify this. It can be, and it is very, very difficult to react positively to a huge negative event. But the first place where we all need to start is letting go of our limiting beliefs. So what is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is a state of mind. It's a conviction or belief that we have that really actually limits us in some way, shape, or form. A limiting belief could be about you. It could be about your interactions with other people. It could be about the world or how it works. Limiting beliefs can have a number of negative effects on you and your business as well as your personal life. They are anchors. They are anchors that stop us from taking action. And in many cases, it stops us from taking bold action when we need to. And they keep us from making sound choices and taking new opportunities. And they hold us back from reaching our potential. So take a look at this graphic. Does it resonate with anybody? There's a man there and he's bound by two rubber bands. One is pulling him towards his vision and one is pulling him away. So the question is he ever going to get there? Well, not if he's held back by his beliefs that he's unworthy or powerless to get there. You see, you cannot move forward in business or life if you're being held back by limiting beliefs. So I'd like to tell you a little story, if you don't mind. I kind of love this. And it really is a great story about how belief is so powerful in our ability to move forward. So there's this businessman, and he's having a terrible, terrible time in business. And he's really in trouble, and he's not sure how he's going to keep himself from going bankrupt. So he goes to a park because he has to think through. And he sits down on a park bench, and he's sitting there with his head in his hands. And he's sitting there, and he's wondering, and he's thinking about everything he has to do or not do, and he's really stressed out. And while he's sitting there, he feels a presence sit down next to him, and he lifts his head, and he looks at this very nice but old man dressed very nicely. And the old man says to the businessman, he says, "Son, what's wrong?" So the businessman goes on and telling him all his challenges and what's going on in the business. And the old man is asking some questions. They're speaking for about 30 minutes. And then all of a sudden the old man says to the businessman, he says, "Son, stop. What's your name?" The man tells him his name, and he reaches into his pocket and pulls out his checkbook. And he writes a check right out to the man's name. And he hands the man a check, and he says, "Listen, son, I believe in you. I believe that you can change this. You meet me here 1 year from today, and you could pay me back this money. But go run your business and be you." And the man takes the check and he looks at it, and he's shocked. He cannot take his eyes off the check. He's never seen one so big. It's for $500,000. And as he's looking at the check and just staring and staring, he looks at the signature, and it's John D. Rockefeller. John D. Rockefeller believes in me. If John D. Rockefeller believes in me, I could believe in me. And he looks up to thank Mr. Rockefeller, and he's gone. He can't believe it. So he goes back to his office, and he takes that check and he puts it into his safe. And then because he had this belief, he started talking and he started making some deals and renegotiating contracts, and he's wheeling and dealing. And next thing you know, he's closing some business, and he's coming out of debt, and he's renegotiating terms. And all of a sudden he starts being bold and start making some real action. Well, a year goes by, he's out of debt, he's making money, and he cannot wait. He absolutely cannot wait to go back and meet Mr. Rockefeller and tell him what went on with the business. So he goes to the park bench, he sits down, and he's waiting. And just like Mr. Rockefeller said, here he comes walking down just on time, and he's just about to sit down on the bench. And all of a sudden this woman comes running behind him. Right? He comes in, he says, John. And he turns around, the woman grabs him by the arm. And she says, "I'm so sorry, sir. I hope he's not bothering you. He always runs away from the home and tells people he's Mr. Rockefeller. I'm so sorry." And he takes the man and brings him away. And the businessman sat there stunned. He said, "Oh my gosh, all this time I've been wheeling and dealing and buying and selling, convinced that I had this backing of $500,000. And then he sat there and he realized it wasn't the money at all, real or imagined, that turned his life, turned his business around. It was his newfound belief and confidence that gave him the power to move forward, to lean into that storm and take bold action. Belief is so powerful. I love that story. So what makes one business owner? What makes one of us more successful than the other? Well, put it this way. The most important story that we tell ourselves is the one to ourselves, about ourselves, when we are by ourselves. Isn't that true? No doubt about it. And if our business is operating below where we want it to be, what is the story What's the story that we're telling ourselves and everyone around us in our team? You see, if success is important, then the one story should be about finding a way to achieve success. Or if the story is filled with limiting beliefs, one will find excuses as to why they aren't succeeding. And if we're feeding ourselves stories about how our competitors are preventing us from being successful, or that it's just too tough to find qualified prospects and we can't get them to buy or convert, then our results will reflect that, and they will not be great. But what if we change that story around and we tell a new story? We tell a story that we are the very best at what we do, that our employees are dedicated and they are committed to adding value, and that our businesses do add value, and our customers and vendors, they're fortunate to work with us because we care and we do such a very good job. Well, I think it's really worth repeating that when you truly believe that your offering is the very best in the market, that the product or service that you're offering is needed, then your actions will take the very nature that it needs to be the very best that you are. And they will reflect your belief. I love this quote by Michelangelo. The greatest danger for most of us is not that we aim too high and that we miss it, but rather that we aim too low and we reach it. I love this. I often talk about victims and victors. I think it's an amazing concept. It's the Oz principle. I don't know if you're familiar with it. But the Oz principle distinguishes between people who live their life above the line or those of us who live a life below the line. Now, all of us actually from time to time move up and down between them. But hopefully, for the most part, we live our lives as victors. You see, victors practice ownership, accountability, and responsibility. And victims, well, practice blame, excuses, and denial. And I know that the business owners who are making it through this pandemic and are getting to the other side successfully have spent their time living their life and running their business above the line. Now, being a victor means your ability to be able to change your mindset and bring about different challenges about how you look at failure or challenges. See, some of you might be familiar with the growth mindset or the fixed mindset. Those of us with a fixed mindset, we don't like being challenged, and we see failure as the limit to our own abilities. But those of us who've been able to move into a growth mindset, very different. See, those of us with a growth mindset realize that both challenge and failure provide us opportunities to grow and to learn. And at some point, all of us experience challenges and failures. And in fact, many of us during this pandemic, this has been our greatest challenge in our career. And having a growth mindset helps us both focus on the possibilities and turn a negative situation into positive outcomes. Take a look at this. Have you ever noticed, I love this, have you ever noticed that most people live their life with a do, have, be perspective? And what I mean by that is that they believe that if they do the right things, then they'll have what they desire, and only then will they be able to be the person who deserves those things. Well, the late, great personal development guru, Jim Rohn, he asked us to flip this equation around. He asked us to start being the person who would already have done and achieve what they did. Because in that case, they would already start doing what successful people do, which means that you are able to have what you need. You see, having is about the future. Being is about now. So if you start being that person, you do the things that you need to. It's a different way of framing what we have to think about and how we bring about success. Now, take a look. I'd like everyone to start writing down, what do you want out of business? What do you want out of life? What do you need to achieve your goal? and all the actions and activity that is going to need to be done to get you there. But just as important as the actions that you're going to take to reach the goal, you need to also focus on who do you need to become to get there. I know during this pandemic, I had to reach deep. I had to reach deep and say, who do we need to be now to get through where we are? I had to rally my troops to make sure that they could get that mindset because we had to make change. Failure is not an option, but we had to change. We had to be a different group. And I think that's what's so important. So as important, like I said, is what you need to do. Who do you need to become to get there? You see, to have more, each and every one of us, we must first become more. And to become more, we must do more from the beginning of the process by working harder on ourselves than on anything else that we work on. Look, I'm going to give one other suggestion. I'd love to take some questions from you folks. One other area that one could do to strengthen their belief, and I really like this, Jim Rohn says this. He says that you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I'd like each of us to think about the colleagues with whom we spend our time and the conversations that you have with those folks. You're doing a great job here. You're obviously a group of victors. You're in tab, you're leaning in, you're playing offense. You stepped into the storm. But I'd like to encourage you to seek out and spend time with victors. Spend time with people who practice ownership, accountability, and responsibility, with can-do attitudes, who do whatever it takes to overcome their challenges. You see, people with belief, you're going to find that with their attitudes and their behaviors that we're all talking about by being the victors, it's contagious and you will raise your game. And I just tell you that it's been an honor for all of us to be able to work together to get through this crazy time. And I hope that you're finding the same enthusiasm and excitement during this dark time as you drive through your own business. With your belief and mindset in the right place, it is time to do the things that will drive your success in the future. As our good friend Bill here, I love his quote, strong reasons will take strong actions. And each and every one of you do have a strong reason. So I hope this helps. I hope this be a catalyst of a little bit of thought. I just wanted to share a little bit of what I've been thinking about lately and what I've been sharing with so many business owners around the world. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you folks. And thank you so much for having me. And I'm really happy to take any questions that are on your mind. So thank you.
Hey, thanks, Jason. Like I said, I do appreciate this sharing because I think sometimes I was just telling a story of how being a little bit on the outside perspective really helps us. So, you know, when you have spoken with business owners all across and you speak to them. So here are a few questions. The first one is, when you deliver this kind of a session to business owners across different communities in various different countries, what's been your common reaction, common passion? Do anybody feel, hey, all this is good, but you know what, we still have to do something else? So what are the kind of reactions you hear from business owners around the world?
So reactions around the world regarding what, Ramesh? I'm sorry?
You present these ideas, when you give these same very concepts to business owners, which are quite universal actually, right? They are very universal, but they're personal as well. So how do people respond?
Yeah, I think they've been responding very, very well. You know, at the end of the day, you know, I don't think any concept is terribly original to any one person, but it requires us to be reminding ourselves and being inspired to do the right work and have the confidence to be bold. You know, every single one of us, regardless of how we portray ourselves, I think as confident and this and that, we have fear. And the idea for us to be able to talk about it and reframe so many of the ways we're looking at the world and working about what we do has been so critical. So I find that most people are feeling really good when they're getting that reorientation about what we need to do and how we need to think. So my experience has been fantastic. And really, a lot of these concepts that I'm sharing with you, I'm hearing from other people, and I gather what others are doing and what others are sharing, and I bring it to us to share with our own community. But I think that it's been a very exciting time for business owners. Not that it's been challenging, but you could see that you could do things different than you ever thought you could do. So many of you, I'm sure, reinvented themselves. And it's because you also had maybe a little wind at your back and someone's helping share their belief that you can and that you need to. And I think that us rallying together has made us take different action.
Okay, great. Well, I have a question from one of our members. Basically, they would like to know what would your top 3 focus areas be for TAB in 2021?
Yeah. So TAB is, we're really focused on bringing the global community together. So you're probably aware of TAB Connect and having that come alive. And, you know, there's the world is really interconnected. So hopefully that we're going to increase our sharing with each other and start having more opportunities to work with each other around the world. We had an amazing international facilitator conference, as you know, Ramas, where we had over 300 some odd people participating on a global conference from our TAB business owners. We want to do the same for the members around the world and bring the membership together and start bringing this brotherhood and sisterhood together. And we have some amazing people. So that's one major thing. We continue to innovate, and I believe that our ability to go deeper with our members' companies and work with their leadership teams with programs like StratPro is another big initiative. But I think from our perspective right now, what we're trying to continue to do is expand our membership around the globe, continue to put our footprint in more places, and bring the membership together so you feel like you're part of something bigger than Chennai or India, or it's a global organization, and you should feel that and be part of that. That's our big initiative.
Absolutely. Actually, before you came in the panel discussion, a member had a valid question. He said, how can we leverage the internationalization, and can we really be part of a global board so that I am not only domestic, I see members around. I know we've been speaking about this for a while, so I just want what are our plans for it?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up. So we're starting our affinity boards. That'll be being rolled out soon. That we're putting together industry boards of all around the world of members. So I would love to see some of our colleagues from India sitting on those boards, but those will be happening probably in the first quarter of this year.
Okay, that's great. Well, Jason, we sort of thank you for your time. You're not about there. Is there any parting thoughts for us?
Stay true to yourself. Believe, keep playing offense. We're going to get through this together. And, keep inspiring each other. We need it. Each and every one of us have the ability to become a victim and stop being a victor. But by staying around each other, for me, just coming here and being with you, even in this short period of time, I'm juiced by it. I'm inspired, and you need to stay inspired. Figure out what that is. And I'm looking forward to being with all of you next year at the conference. As long as everybody's healthy and well, I'll be with you, and we'll be able to meet together in person. Thank you so much. Stay well, stay safe. And as I always try to tell people, please be kind. The world is a little short on kindness right now, and we could all use a little bit of it. So thank you. Ramas, I'm so grateful that you asked me to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate your time.
Have a wonderful rest of the conference. Enjoy.
Great morning
and congratulations to all the winners of those wonderful awards. All right. Bye.
Absolutely. I will do that for sure. You will get that list by end of day today.
Thank you. Ciao.
Well, great. That was a good session, and we keep clipping and moving on. I just wanted to spend a minute just sort of talking about a few honorable mentions. I usually try to do it in between the session and not do a formal vote of thanks in the end. It just seems too contrived. So I would rather like to thank people before and not after and keep going as we go. So firstly, a few list of thanks to our members who've been unbelievably helpful in doing various things for us at the conference, right? So it genuinely requires their support, and we appreciate their being there for us in organizing this conference and doing whatever they could for us. Similarly, there is absolutely, this time around, we've not been lonely. And I can say that last time when we put together the conference, this cliche that we were lonely at the top, right? This time, no. This time, thanks to our TAB business owners from Pondicherry, from Rajkot, Mumbai, Surat, we had a team. We've been running our own boards. A couple of interesting tidbits is we at TAB business owners, we do a board ourselves, right? So we practice what we preach. And I want to say that as we speak, there are at least 2 locations where there are multiple people sitting together right now. So even in terms of viewerships, there are 2 or 3 locations where people are sitting together, projecting the screen and watching it together and plan to celebrate at the end of this event. So that's really motivating. That's great. I do wish we could have met together, but the fact that all of you guys are doing this at different locations is motivating, and I just got to know that. So that's brilliant. So thank you very much, TAB business owners, for being there. A quick minute, and I know Jason and the panel members have sort of addressed some of the issues, so I'm not going to spend more than a minute on what is TAB, and you can find it on the website. However, I just wanted to spend maybe 30-40 seconds on this. TAB has been good for me is in the ability to retain customers. TAB members have been with us for 4.5 years on an average world over. But if you remove the people who have sold their business, which is a good reason to exit TAB, the average shoots up to 7.5, 8, 9 years, which means members have been together, accountable to each other for a long period of time, and they get to know each other so very well. So who can be a member? Anyone, actually, anybody who's an entrepreneur. It could be a startup across various industries. It could be professionals, lawyers, doctors, manufacturing, anybody who wants to marry their personal vision with their business vision. Yes, of course, we have a criteria that they need to be professional and growth oriented, because TAB is not meant for just selling more. It's not a networking platform. It's most certainly not to do sales. It's meant for some owner who really wants to leave behind an organization where other people can run it and they focus on the better things to do, right? That's what TAB does. And of course, we need to be open-minded and collaborative. Otherwise, TAB is just going to be wasted. There's a beautiful line that somebody told me once, and I would like to repeat it. Thanks to the client who did this. He said, TAB is personally professional. And you know what? For me, the analogy is of business friends. Friends can be brutally honest, right? But at business, we have so much of competition. We go to industry associations, but we don't get that honesty. Or we are busy networking, trying to ask what is in it for me. TAB, you learn much more by giving as much as by learning, because a lot of these problems are same. Just like that wise bird who is away, by looking at 7 other board members who are sitting with you, you are in a position to advise them, and thereby you learn lot many more facets about your own business. As friends, they know you inside out, your weaknesses and strengths. And I know in our boards, very often the member says, look, I know this is exactly what you would have done, but this is not what you should do. And that comes out of the camaraderie. The private coach holds them accountable, because coaching is normally not something out of inbounds with most SME owners. But here you have a private coaching session who helps you get deeper into the business. And then we heard enough about strategic tools. But what has been excellent for us in India over the last 1 year is this additional. We've realized that the next level team members really want to now grow. And to me, it's a sign of maturity. When owners come back to us and say, whatever you're doing for us at the board, you please do it to us to the next level team members. It's a sign that they are promoting themselves. So let me tell you one takeaway. In a business ownership, we also need a promotion, except that we do our performance appraisal. The market gives us the feedback, but if we promote ourselves, nobody beneath is going to come. Then it's a glass ceiling. So here with ownership, the next level comes, we promote ourselves, and then we do an ongoing learning. So very happy to connect, but I want to leave you with a thought saying that even before I get to the stars, let me tell you the most motivating story here is one member telling me that the best benefit that TAB has given in this time is, in Mumbai, he called it ROTI, R-O-T-I. And it's just like roti is so basic, right? I mean, it could be rice in south, roti in north, whatever, but roti as a concept, it says return on time invested, right? I'm never going to forget it, right? I'm never going to forget it. So return on time invested is all that an owner can do. And if TAB allows you to release time for doing the strategic initiatives thereby. On that note, we are getting to the exciting part of the day, and it's a segment where it gives us great pleasure to get started, and let's get to the awards, right? So there are two awards. One of them is called Board Stars. I'm going to invite Ravi to take over and start the process.
Right. So we will announce the board stars for 6 of the boards, which have been running for the last 6 months, more than 6 months. As you know, 310 is Mumbai. We got 3 boards in Mumbai and 2 in Pondicherry, 1 in Chennai. So what we have done is that we've asked the board members to give their ratings for the everybody in the board, and based on those ratings we have evaluated it, and we have worked out the board star. In some cases there were ties, in which case the facilitator would take a call. That's how the board stars have been evolved. But let me tell you, although we are going to declare one of you as a board star, it does not mean that the fight has been very tough between the board members, and it was a very, very difficult work for the facilitators. Let me tell you that much. So without much ado, I'm going to start off by announcing the names of the board members for each of these 6 boards. So we start with 310. 310 is the board which is run by Dhananjay Pachre. He's the facilitator for 310. It is comprised of 3 board members, Viral, Nipun, Vinay, and Subodh. The person who has won is a very conscientious board member. Gives and takes a lot of value from TAB. In fact, he has grown very well during the last 2-3 years he has been in TAB. The award goes to Viral Parekh of 310. In 311, the facilitator is Madhavan, and this is in Pondicherry. This has been a unanimous choice by the board, and an extremely likable person. The winner is Tangamani Maran. 312 is again in Pondicherry, and a fairly unanimous decision. But I would say a very well-deserved award for the highly energetic Miss Devi Priya. And do I hear some claps there? And 401, the person is a very passionate, highly growth-oriented, and a great contributor to the board. Any guesses there? Unanimous choice, Piyush Shah. 402, this was a tough fight. Had to select one among 3. So, and this, of course, I am the facilitator. So I went in for the soft but firm contributor, Mr. Shantanu Sathe. And finally, in 403, I think the member was almost an automatic choice by the other board members, Damodar and Ravi. Thank you very much, guys. And the trophies will reach you shortly.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Towards the board stars, and like Ravi said, I wish we could just have an applause and like we had the last time, but we can do with graffiti here. personally recognized. And I just wanted to spend a minute on talking about this peer rating, because to me, it's very interesting, this whole idea. Because like we said about the responsibility of a board, here, my fellow members, people who have been with me, are the people who are rating me for how well I've done, not because of a survey that depends upon this particular month or this particular time. The survey is actually being done for how much the board and the person has contributed to the board. So it's a very interesting idea. So it's not about how well I've done in my business. Now there are other awards for it, right? The Growth, Innovation, StratPro, Harmony. This is purely about how good a board member have I been to others, and my peers are rating me. So I'm extremely proud about all the people here. Everybody has been doing a good job. And like Ravi said, in many places there was a tie. But hey, as facilitators, we had to announce somebody, right? So the whole idea is this is direct feedback from tough customers. Trust me, tab owners are tough customers. All of us business owners are tough customers. So having 8 other people in the board rating me, great stuff, guys. It's fantastic. So kudos. The trophy that you see here, incidentally, is a real trophy. It's not an image from Google. This very trophy, along with your certificate, will reach you in the next week. Okay. Finally, before I go on to the last section of the award, which is big, I wanted to take a minute to acknowledge the hard work that has been put in by our entire organizing team. These are the people who have been behind the back, whose faces are not being seen. But trust me, I learned a lesson that organizing things in the digital world can sometimes get more stressful than the real world, right? In the real world, we are there to hold each other. But here there is an internet and the cloud and the bandwidth and technology, and all the people whom I don't even know are holding us together. So it's been a fairly imperative challenge to take by our entire organizing team. These are the people who have been behind the back, whose faces are not being seen. But trust me, I learned a lesson. So I wanted to acknowledge, therefore, the fact that these are the individuals who are and I request all the participants to be mute, because if you're on YouTube and on this, we will be circling our audio. So until we invite you, request all the participants to be on video off, please. Thank you. Right. So the honorable members are the people who helped us. We have the team led by Ajinkya, who is our marketing coordinator, the magician who does a lot of stuff. Then we have Krishnan, Vishwesh, and Ram, who helped us in spite of their calling, in spite of doing whatever they are doing. And the little tidbits of work that they did has magnified itself into the effort. Thank you, guys. So young guys who helped us, next gen really helped us quite a bit. Thank you. And then we have Priyanka in Pondicherry. We have Swaroop, Vaishnavi, and Harshal, who are there as we speak on the phones and the calls. So all of us have done a magnificent job. Thank you very much. So with that, we get to the last stage of the awards, and this is going to be the interesting phase where I have great pleasure in telling you a little bit about the awards, and even greater pleasure in introducing you to our expert panel who did this tough job. I will leave them to tell you how they did the job, but I want to say, why are these awards? Last time we had just 3 awards. We had the growth, we had the innovation, and we had the Harmony awards. But this time we added 2. COVID, because it was a tough year, right? So COVID is an indication of how we responded. Like Jason said, there is this whole thing about an event, our response. So COVID is just that. I love that analogy. So COVID is about how the entrepreneurs responded to the same event and how well they did. We've had magnificent stories in the last 9 months because we've interacted more, but we had to pick some. So the COVID Warrior Award is in recognition to the people that they did. And StratPro is a sign of maturity. Like I said, StratPro is meant for the key team members. StratPro is a shadow board as a concept, or you can call it an intrapreneur board, if you will. It's about getting the next level team members working in pace with the owner. So TAB as an offering where we coach the next level team members, and that's a sign of so many members opting to go to StratPro is a sign that they are maturing. So we had to give an award, and this award will be accepted by the owner, but it belongs to his team. So all of those you guys who are online here watching on behalf of the companies which are in StratPro, this award goes to you. Our recognition, when we come to that, you have a rightful demand to take it from your CEO. These awards have been there last time, and we found a very simple story. These are incidentally are the 3 things that an entrepreneur should be responsible for. Growth means the choices we make, the policy decisions that we take, the strategies that we adopt. Second has to be profitability. But one of our members suggested that profitability is passe. We can do what we want and leave it to our accountants, right? But the point is that real profitability, genuine profitability comes by how we innovate and how we are better than the rest when it comes to a competitive advantage. So we thought that was a brilliant idea. And so we put a category called innovation on how well our business has coped with the situation and invested in the long term. The final award is a personal favorite of mine. Last 2 days, we've heard tons of people talk about culture, tons of people talk about businesses, tons of people talk about owners, and we've learned a lot about dealing with people in the last year. Now, we knew this, and therefore we had instituted this whole award called Harmony. Harmony is all about how do my employees perceive me. So this is a completely anonymous survey, which is spread out to the employees of the organizations who have a certain size and beyond, because you need a certain size to be able to have enough employees to rate you. All those employees have participated in good numbers, and this is a rating of how the entrepreneur is trying to build culture. So those are the awards that we're going to give away. And we are extremely happy in order to be able to give these awards and tell us how they have done and gone about the process. We have our expert panel, Mr. Deepak Tombre and Mr. Ullas Deshpande. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce the two of them. So their videos are on. So I'm still going to take a minute and introduce you, gentlemen, and then hand it over to you to tell us a few things about how you went about it. First thing, Deepak. Deepak is actually the chairman on the board of Dalmia Refractories, and he was the MD and CEO of Dalmia Refractories before as his last professional stint. And he's worked in numerous multinationals and family managed business, right? The names say whatever it is. But one of the key things I remember from Deepak is his ability and his experience in managing sales. So he's been in sales and marketing, traveled the country, built a large organization, including international. And his stories that I've heard are amazing in the way he's converted a lot of tough situations and moved on, right? And apart from that, he brings a very mature person. And the best and the most important acknowledgement I can give to Deepak is that he's my coach. And I'm very, very proud. Deepak, that's to you. I'm very, very proud and honored to have had you as my coach. And you know what? They can all go through your LinkedIn profile. But to me, the person that you are is what really matters to me. And there is nothing I could say. I want to make you as a person and a leader.
Thank you. Thank you, Ram.
Thank you, Deepak. Our second judge, if I may use the word, but I would rather like to call it expert on the panel, is Mr. Ullas Deshpande. Ullas and I have known each other recently, but there's one trait about Ullas that matters, is that you feel you've known him forever. I mean, I just can't explain it, right? I don't know what's the right word, but I'll tell you one word that comes to my mind. I think Ullas is one of the most sorted human beings I've seen in life, right? I have never seen him hassled. He's been on a fellow board with me on a couple of companies, and on one company, which is also a very high professional services company. I've seen a lot of challenges thrown at him. I've never seen him hassled. And there's a secret to that, which I will tell you later. But let me do my job first and sort of read out what his resume actually is, right? Before we move on. So he's a board member and a mentor for startups and help them for sharp scaling up. He's a founder and an incubation startup. But he's actually held senior management positions and HR positions in a lot of insurance, KPO, BPO companies. And that comes from unbelievable amount of HR experience, and both in pharmaceutical and finance services company. He is an HR graduate, goes without saying, right? And he's also a trustee for a school of different people. So I said, I'll come back to you and tell you the secret. And I know that Ullas doesn't write it here, but he's an avid mountaineer. Now, what more can I say for a person who loves to see challenges and wants to climb peaks and yet retain their composure? So I would like to see mountains in pictures. I promised to come with him, but I've not managed it. But Ullas, even in this time, is an avid mountaineer, and that speaks a lot about his ability to deal with stuff. So, sirs, we are extremely happy to have both of you with us. I'm going to sort of pass over the baton to you for the next few minutes so that both of you can explain the process, because the neutrality and the professionalism of these awards are extremely important, because that's credibility, that is trust for us. So thank you for being there.
Thank you so much, Ramas, for your kind words. So, I've been privileged that Ullas has sort of, suggested that I should start the ball rolling, so I'm going to do that. So first, thank you so much, Ramas and Ravi, for giving Ullas and myself the opportunity of being your partners in deciding the best performance awards for the year 2020. In fact, it's also my privilege that, I am going to be with your audience for the second time, and I am so very honored. So it's indeed a privilege and pleasure to be among such accomplished entrepreneurs like all of you at the TAB India Members Conference 2021. So thank you. Despite the unprecedented challenges that COVID-19 brought to our doorstep, I must say that the enormous extent of resilience, flexibility, and business acumen exhibited by each one of these entrepreneurs is indeed so very commendable. I must add that each one of you sitting here has been so unique and distinct in effectively managing your own businesses during these difficult times. That in a way, each entrepreneur sitting here is a great winner. And I like to emphasize that. Please do believe me that, when I say that for Ullas and myself, it was indeed a very big challenge to shortlist those of you who would finally be eligible to win the awards in each category. We went through really multiple rounds of discussions together, sharing our minds to try and understand, how to really, deal with this entire challenge of nominating the winners. Let me briefly tell you the type of challenges we faced, the few principles that we followed, and what are the criteria that we use, just so that the entire process is completely transparent. So the challenges were that, there's variety of industries in front of us, variety of segments and addressing different markets. Product lines were so very diverse. The financial numbers were so widely differing because of size and scale of each of the organizations that were represented. So these were some of the key challenges that we faced. I'm sure there were quite a few more, and maybe Ullas can add later on, but this is what strikes me as being very relevant. The few principles that we did very consciously follow were ensuring fairness and objectivity in our approach, creating some sort of a number-based structure or a framework for evaluating performance, bringing different views into our discussions while using our judgment. So these were some of the principles that we consciously deployed in the way in which we conducted ourselves. Now, the TabStar Growth Awards were incidentally based on estimated performance this year as compared to actual performance last year. The criteria used were total revenue, exports, gross margin, fixed costs, and cash management. How did we perform this year estimated versus how did we actually perform in the previous year? The TabStar Innovation Awards were based on quality of specific initiatives taken leading to productivity improvement, competitive advantage gained, if any, new product or technology introduction, significant improvements in processes, and of course, making a social difference in the way in which we have done our businesses. So TabStar Harmony Awards were decided based on weighted average scores based on ratings as received from the organizations, by normalizing the scores of number of employees on the principle that larger the company in terms of number of employees, it would be more difficult and challenging to manage Harmony. So these were broadly the principles, criteria, few challenges that we faced. But I think, together as a team and with great help from Ravi and, everyone contributed. And Ullas, thank you very much for being a thought partner there. I mean, it was an amazing experience for us and it was so very challenging. Before I hand over this entire thing to Ullas for him to share his mind, I just want to, give you a thought. As an executive coach, I can't, and with so many years of experience behind me, I can't but hold back myself. So I thought, let me share this thought with you. In addressing these issues of growth, innovation, and harmony, apart from the fact that you're also technologically skilled, effective salespeople, so good at your own bookkeeping processes, and who have great functional capability, one of the key drivers, in addressing these issues, which is going to remain that way for years to come, is application of relationship skills, probably in my view, a little bit more than analytical skills. Hence, in order to address or cope with change, it is going to be relationship skills that are going to be at the heart of leadership. So I just want to leave this thought that while all of you, are experts in your own domains, in your fields, do give adequate attention to relationship building skills, maintaining harmony with your customers, suppliers, employees, board, and above all your own families. I think is critical very critical, if you want to be on the path of growth, progress, and well-being. So this is just a thought that came to my mind. And I thought, since we are in the conference with so many entrepreneurs who run their businesses, and I'm sure you all know it, but I thought, let me emphasize this as an executive coach. So thank you very much for being patient with me. I'm going to ask Ullas to join in and share a few of his thoughts with us. Thank you, everyone, for the patient listening. Yeah, Ullas.
Thank you, Deepak, and thank you, Ramas, for the generous introduction. So just adding to what Deepak said, I think it was quite a puzzle for us. And putting it all together, I think besides the number metric and the parameter that Deepak just explained, we also went through the qualitative notes, the company background information, and the initiatives, various initiatives that all of you have taken despite a difficult year, and because that also played an important part in really putting the numbers in the right perspective. So we did spend some time on that because that did help us correct a few things when we finally saw the number metric, because it's ultimately at the end of the day, it's just not a number, right? It has to go much more beyond that, and we need to look at the quality of the business, the quality of the people, and the quality of the organization, and what the intent is. And I think a lot of qualitative data that was provided to us, I think did help us in coming to a more all-rounded, kind of a judgment and a view. But still, I would say the challenge remained, and I think it was not an easy puzzle to solve. We did have to, off and on bother Ravi at late nights in Singapore to sort of wake him up and get some clarifications or some questions that we could not find answers to. But yes, at the end of it, we could arrive at some definite conclusions. I think what really stood out for us is that despite a very difficult year where there was such a gloom and doom all over, I think most of you have shown the courage to challenge and change some of your business models. And I think that's I think a huge plus, because in this kind of a time, it's very easy to go into hibernation and go into a pure conservation mode. But I think many of you have not displayed that, and which I think is very, very heartening. The other interesting thing is that while we will announce the Harmony Award soon, the Harmony scores look pretty good across all the companies that participated. And I think for a year where employee morale, entrepreneurs morale is supposed to have taken a lot of beating, from what we read and what we see, I think it's a very heartening thing that most of you have managed to keep your employees, in good motivation and morale, which is, I think, again, another heartening feature. Investments have continued, which is again another very contra indication, if I may say so, where a lot of people have gone into a very withdrawn or a conservative mode for obvious reasons. The other interesting thing is money management really stood out, and I think some of the factors on basis of which we did evaluation, Deepak has already highlighted. But certainly, strong money management, conserving cash, looking at collections. And sometimes I wonder, why is it that we as entrepreneurs and business people don't do these things well when the going is very good? When you see a lot of leakages in profit and cash flow management and productivity and stuff like that. And it's only when an adversity hits us that we all start tightening up our belt. So we hope that trend continues in the years to come, even when in good times, there's a lot that can be saved and conserved through prudent money management. So that I think stood out pretty well. And the last point I want to make is that, I think a lot of small players, and when I'm saying small players, I'm not meaning it in any different way, but I think some of the small companies which are smaller in terms of size and revenue, the micro SMEs, if I may be permitted to say so, have also come up quite nicely during the year, because I think some of the stories that we've been reading in business magazines and places like that is, a lot of companies of that kind, micro SMEs, etc., have actually folded up and shut shop. But I think against that kind of a backdrop, I think a lot of small players have shown a lot of tenacity, if I may use that word, and have not only survived, but also thrived during the year. So I think that's what I would say. So I think I see a lot of persistence and perseverance in the way in which I think most of you have tried to deal with a a very, very tough year against very strong headwinds. With that, I just want to compliment, what Deepak said, that, we had a wonderful time working on this, and not an easy job, but hopefully we've tried to do our best. And with those few words, I would hand it back to Ramas and then take it from here. Thank you. Thank you very much. And wish you all a happy new year.
So thank you very much to both you gentlemen. Of course, you're going to be here to sort of announce some of these awards as well. And when we started these awards and had you as experts, the first time we kept a third vote, right, as a neutral vote. And this is the second year in succession, and I was supposed to be holding it. This is the second year in succession where I've not had any discussion with the two of you. Absolutely zero discussion with the two of you as a matter of protocol, and the deciding vote was not needed, which also tells me that the collective way in which this came about is good. So I know you've given us fantastic amount of time and we appreciate it. And I hope you continue to be with us. As a small token, of course, a gift hamper, which is going to find its way to your home, but that's not the key point. What I need from you though, is the next time there is a confidence and knowledge sessions, this time I knew you were difficult. We have to block your time early and have knowledge sessions with the two of you as well. And I would sincerely block your time and ask for that. So thank you very much for being there. So let me get started with the awards, right? The first two awards are, it's my honor to present. Right? And before I hand over, and Ketan from HP has joined us again. So before I hand over the last three awards to the three dignitaries, the first two awards, it's my honor to give away. So let me start off with the first one. The first one is our COVID Warrior Award, right? And I must tell you that the amount of stories that we heard in the COVID situation is unbelievable. I am repeating myself, I know, but I must say that it's amazing in terms of what our members have done in these tough times, not only for their own businesses, for others as well. Because let me tell you, like you said, it's not very easy to run a business when the world is talking about a shutdown. We are taking responsibilities of people's lives in our hands, right? And we are able to deal with it, right? And at the same time, are you going to continue employment and continue to give salaries? I mean, what can we do? And I remember some really harassing discussions we had in the early part of the COVID, but people didn't give up. And therefore, it is very difficult to say who got the COVID award because of something they did for their business. So I must say, based on the comments I've received, I'm going to read some comments from the panel, is that these awards have been given to people who have actually stepped a little bit away from it. It's not only about people who did and were brave for their businesses, which they were. This is about people who went a few steps away. So there were a lot of stories, amazing amount of stories. We don't have the time, but I am going to sort of announce the awards and say incidentally, I must say the process of the nominating them on, I think I missed it. I must say that we have all the nominees waiting here in the waiting room, right? I wish we could have all called you in and given you the awards, but right at the end of this session in another 15 minutes, we are going to open all of you guys in so that we have an open session and maybe we can share our thoughts of what we feel. So I'm waiting. I know all of you guys are on Zoom. Just for a matter of convenience of coordination, we are going to do the announcements first and then let you in so that we can share some experiences and we can get some starry pictures together, but not physically, but maybe on Zoom, we'll take a picture and see ourselves there. I really hope we could do that. So in the process, I'm going to just announce the award and then in the end, we will get you guys in, right? So that's the whole idea. So the award for the COVID Warrior goes like this. The second runner-up is Mr. Rajan Mehta and his partner who was an earlier tab member, Mr. Karthik Parekh. He's the second runner-up. I will tell you the reasons for this in a bit, but he's the second runner-up. The first runner-up is Mr. Anand K of One Land Global from Pondicherry. And the winner of the COVID Warrior Award is Mr. Rakesh Kumar from Pondicherry as well, who is the owner of Kareka Iyengar's Bakery. So while I give these awards away, let me tell you the reason why. It was tough, like I said, but Rajan gets his award simply because they are actually involved in managing the energy efficiencies and of the 5 largest data centers in the country today, 5 largest data centers. Now just imagine what internet means to our lives. I knew that there were t-shirts which said that Wi-Fi was above water and air, but in a way it's become like that. So Rajan's team entire service team has been available throughout the pandemic in supporting these data centers and actually getting the projects that are commissioned quicker, better, and in a healthier way. And that was the reason why Rajan was chosen as a second runner-up. We moved on to the first runner-up, which is Mr. Anand K of Wonderland Global, because he actually happens to be in a difficult business. He's in the pest control services, imagine, right? And we can't let go of those services. But his team members have therefore actually been in great amount of risk to be able to provide their clients with the disinfecting services, the ability to go there. Imagine motivating a team which is taking the risk to keep others safe. So that's where Anand is well-deserved, extremely deserved, and happy to be the runner-up. And then we had a tough time choosing Mr. Rakesh Kumar. Now, Rakesh, what he did was not only through the entire time, not only to the retail stores, they happen to be in the food business, right? And some of you would have got their sweets. They actually chose not to just wait for consumers to come to their stores, but actually reach out to the various Kirana stores to ensure that their daily supply of bread and bakery items are kept alive. And they did it at a lower margin, much lower margin, so that rather than just for profits, they made sure that people got their daily consumption. Over and above that, they contributed to the Chief Minister's Fund in actually helping meals being cooked for the homeless and the poor. Not only did they give a donation of 1 lakh, they contributed in efforts to make sure that the food are made available. And then finally, of course, they actually went and provided more than 10,000 masks to the district collector at a time where things were very critical at the check post, because they happen to be in Pondicherry. There are check posts, actually, if you believe it or not. So we're very proud, extremely proud to have these gentlemen here. And all of us have won, right? The entire 12 nominees who are waiting in the room have won in one way or the other, because to me, deciding the 3 is really inconsequential, because among 55 owners, right, choosing 5 awards, it just means that we are already the best, right? It just means a matter of now grading each other a little bit on it. So congratulations to this team. We then move on to the StratPro Award. Like I said, this is again my honor to right, the whole idea of KTM means key team members. How have the teams come? So in this period, we've heard very interesting stories. And it is no doubt that those companies have done better where their key team members supported them. Let me share my own story. Is that a lot of these so-called soft issues, and we will come to harmony later, which was considered a nice to have, suddenly became a must have in this period. And those organizations which were equipped, where the key team members came out on their own to support the owners at this time, were the ones which did very well. We've had stories where the key team members, we've had stories where the key team members are come on their own and offered to cut salaries, and the process in the situation, and there is a whole idea. So how they would take it forward, right? So there have been motivating stories about the next level team members which are stunning. So the award goes to, it's my pleasure to announce the 3 nominations for the StratPro Award, and I have the list here. The second runner-up goes to Ms. Devi Priya of Sri Ramanujar Intellect Services from Pondicherry. The first runner-up award goes to Mr. Rakesh Telavne of Telavne Power Equipment, incident category for his team members. So we are very proud that he's the first runner-up, and he's taken the award for his key team members helping him. And the winner is Mr. Venkat Subramanian of Sri Venkateshwara Sweets, who has done a lot of magic in growth with his team members. So here are the 3 award winners, and let me tell the story of why these people were chosen, right? Ms. Devi Priya as in her own words, she's a first generation woman entrepreneur, right? So it's been very challenging to perform as a first gen entrepreneur and a lady in these difficult times, right? With her passion for the industry and the insights that is required, she had to really take charge of her team. And then the second runner-up is Rakesh Telavne, because of the way he manages his team members. I know for a fact, I'm great to be his facilitator, and I know for a fact that his team members are unbelievable in the way they have supported him, managed his cash positions. They came to him and given to him his support, and the lot of changes in terms of big initiatives that he's done has been unbelievable. And that's the reason he gets the runner-up award. And then the winner is Venkat Subramanian, simply because he combines a unique passion of growth and the next level, right? Yeah. So, okay, let's ask him to take over. I am requesting Ravi to take over from here on and the next awards. Thank you for being with me. I move it on to the next awards from here on. Ravi, welcome you to take over. Ask her.
Yeah, there has been a slight problem at Ramas's end. So let me take over from where Ramas left. So Venkat Subramaniam has been awarded this StatPro award. Every strategy has to be implemented, right? And their StatPro team made this possible. For the owner, it became a simplified management in his own words. So he says that it's a tremendous support for the owner to reach his goal in time. So that's why Venkat Subramaniam has been given the StatPro award. And now we'll move on to the next one, which is for the growth. I'm going to request Ketan to come in and announce the award winners. Ketan?
Thanks, Ravi. Thank you for asking me to join back again. It's my pleasure to be joining back. So let me announce the TAB Stars for Growth Awards. Again, as we saw in the previous categories, there is a second runner-up, there is a first runner-up, and then there is a winner. And maybe, Ravi, I don't have a briefing, but in case you want to later on talk about who won and why, that will be great. In case you want to add on.
Yes, we will do that. I'll be doing that. Yeah.
So let me announce the second runner-up. The second runner-up is Shanmugandam Viraswamy from Touch Solar Technologies. That's the second runner-up. The first runner-up is Venkata Subramanian, Shri Venkateshwara Sweets. And the winner in the TAB Star for the Growth Award category goes to Shehul Seth, Anil Kumar, and Bhagwan Gaikwad from Acupec Engineering Private Limited. So those are the winners. Congratulations to all of you. And congratulations to all your team members who have been very instrumental in part of this Growth Awards. Ravi, in case you want to add on top of it.
Thank you very much, Ketan. Thank you for coming in again and presenting these awards. A great honor for us. So let me explain a bit about why or what is the rationale behind presenting these awards. Again, as Ramas said earlier, it has been a very difficult choice. I think Deepak and Ullas were, we worked on it for many sessions to come up with the final answers. But here it is. Touch Solar, Shanmuganandam, had a great year actually. And although the growth over the last year was phenomenal, but they, considering the fact that they entered into a new vertical, which is lithium batteries instead of solar panel, we considered them as a startup. And that is why we have put them as second runner-up. So we said that, okay, the growth-wise, we couldn't consider them as number one. However, we are very sure that they will probably take top the table next year, given that they are into a very futuristic area they're working on. Congratulations, Shan. Sri Venkateshwara Sweets, Venkata Subramaniam gets his second award, and that he is the first runner-up for the growth. And in spite of a COVID situation, Venkat and his team, they were able to open a new outlet and foster growth. So they are into the sweets, retail sweets business. And in spite of all this COVID, and we were thinking that retail will not work and so on, but these guys went and opened a new outlet, and they actually achieved 50% turnover increase over last year. So amazing effort from Venkat. Congratulations, Venkat. And finally, we have Acupac Engineering. They are into pharma packaging business and packaging machine manufacturers, as well as change part manufacturers. And they achieved 100% growth in top line over the last year. And looking at their numbers, I was wondering, are we in COVID year? And not only that, they even started a new, the packaging machine vertical gave them a tremendous growth this year. They've also done another amazing thing is they have consolidated the operation in a single large location. And all this was done during this COVID period. I think amazing efforts. So Sheol, Anil and Gaikwad, congratulations on achieving this growth award. Thank you, Ketan. Thank you very much for participating. It's a real pleasure.
Thanks, Ravi. And thank you all the winners. This has been a phenomenal journey, as Ravi just explained, for all the 3 companies, and I'm sure all other nominees today. So thank you so much again for inviting me.
Great. Now let's move on to the next one. And now we go to the Innovation Award. Deepak, it's all yours. You are on mute, Deepak. You're on mute.
So I've unmuted myself. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you very much. Am I audible now?
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
So the TAPSTAR for Innovation Award. The second runner-up first goes to Rakesh Kumar of Karaikal Iyengars.
Okay.
Congratulations to him. The first runner-up is Rajan Mehta of FEC Energy Consulting Private Limited. Congratulations. And the winner, any guesses? Okay, let me not keep the suspense anymore. It is Shanmuganandam Veeraswamy of Touch Solar Technologies. Hearty congratulations to you too. So I think, I've already explained earlier, and I'm sure Ravi will probably get into a little bit more detail if he wants. The criteria for us, as I said, for Innovation Awards were, if you saw anything in the area of productivity improvement, getting a competitive advantage, new product or technology introduction, any significant process improvement, or even for that matter, making a social difference. I mean, these were some of the factors we kept in mind while rating the participants. So once again, hearty congratulations. Well done. I think all of you guys have done an exceptional job for the year, and wish you all the best for the coming year. Thank you so much.
Okay, so before we move on, let me just give you the specific reasons or justification behind these presentations, these awards. Second runner-up, Karaikal Iyengar Rakesh Kumar, for their proactive process improvements and investments made for product development. This was the one reason why we selected them. The first runner-up, FEC Energy. They won the Maharashtra Startup Innovation Society Award among 1,500 startups in the country. And they won the category of smart infra. So I think they've done us proud, and they have implemented. And one of the main thing they have done is they have implemented Internet of Things based power quality automated testing during this period. Congratulations, Rajan and Karthik. And finally, the winner, Touch Solar, Shanmuganandam, he and his team did a massive reorientation of the business. They actually shut down their solar panel business and went into the lithium battery business. He not only stabilized the business, he also increased the revenues and had a good selling year. So they developed the first wall-mounted smart power backup system in India with built-in lithium-ion battery for domestic and commercial segment, and also signed an exclusive sales partner agreement with one of the large power companies in India for the same product. Congratulations, all 3 of you. Well done, and keep it up. Thank you, Deepak.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you.
And finally, the Harmony Award. May I request Ullas to announce the award? Ullas, you're on mute, huh? Unmute yourself.
Hello again. So, TapStar for Harmony Award. Second runner-up is Fabrimec Engineers Private Limited, led by Thomas K. Verghese and Stephen K. Thomas. First runner-up is Telavne Power Equipments Private Limited, led by Rakesh Telavne. And the winner is Titan Laboratories, Piyush Shah. Congratulations to all. And as I said earlier, that it is very heartening to see that overall scores of most companies on the Harmony Award are very, very good. Specifically talking about Harmony Awards, I think our job was relatively easier here because we largely went by the employee responses that we got, and the scores were already there. So we knew who has the highest score, and that was logically the winner. All that Deepak and I had to do was to really apply certain factors of moderation to sort of make sure that the size of the organization, the number of respondents, and the number of employees each organization has, get some due factoring in, so that we are fair and objective to all the companies, and we don't compare a very, very small company of 10 employees with a company of 200 employees on the same platform. So that was the only moderating factor that we applied, but by and large it was the employee score. So it is largely, you're actually voted by your own employees, frankly. So congratulations to all, and for everyone else also, I must say, well done really in a very difficult year. So that's the Harmony Award. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
yeah, Ramas is back.
Yeah.
But I'm going to talk about this, Ramas. Allow me to talk.
Go ahead. Good. All yours.
No, let me finish the justification bit. Then you can take it over. Okay. So let me finish off with giving the specific reasoning behind why and how these three companies were selected. Fabrimec scored very high. However, the number of staff was lesser, and that's why they went into second runner-up. It is not that their numbers were low. The response from the staff was very positive, and very happy to see that. Response from Telavne staff, what was very interesting was 80% of the 109 staff responded. Their average score again was an amazing 4 out of 5. Very high positive among the staff, and therefore they were selected as first runner-up. The winner, of course, was Titan Labs. And here there was some amazing numbers. And that's why I said, Ramas, let me speak, because I wanted to tell about Piyush and his company. An amazing 95% of the 125 staff responded. That in itself is amazing. And their average score in the survey was 4.25 out of 5. This is truly commendable, as it is very difficult to get a high score on a large survey sample. And we are also aware of the fact that Piyush has taken several initiatives in the last year, and the results was very much visible. Ramas, now you can take it over and explain.
Actually, I really don't need to add much to what you said. It's very good, except the one thing which is interesting for me. I happen to be the facilitator on his board any which way, right? So I do know for a fact that Piyush's critical success factor last year was Harmony.
Exactly.
He had out to say that he will win the Harmony Award, and he's been assisted by the team members, Rakesh notably, and others, Aditya, so many. I know for a fact that Prashant, everybody, Kedar, have all been very, very nurturing Mitesh in the process, and he had made it a point. So for me as a facilitator, I'm just glad that this happened, and wish him and everybody the best. So like we said, I think I just want to add by saying, first of all, thanks Ravi for picking it up. And this is a matter of good planning, I'm sure, where we are not person dependent and things just seamlessly went through. So thank you so much. So as we continue, I just wanted to again now is a good time where congratulations to everybody, all your trophies, all your certificates will be there. Please celebrate with your team members because each one of it is very, very well deserved, extremely well deserved. And I know last year's winners had the trophy displayed and had celebrations this year. Make no less about it. There are few things to cheer about, and this is one of them. And the reason why the trophies came in the first place was because one of our members told me very succinctly. I remember him telling me that, you know what, we are here to give appraisals and awards and feedback to all of us, but who is going to give us awards, right? And that, I think we have a member advisory committee, and that was the starting point of these awards. So these whole awards did not come from TAB's brainchild. It's not TAB's brainchild. It's actually what the members told us, and we are very proud to do it 2 years in a row, and very glad to see a mix of people across industries. The awards also, I'm looking at it from outside. Compliments to the two panel members who did this, because looking at it from outside, there's a big widespread of regions, widespread of boards, a widespread of industries. So it just makes me feel very, very good about it. So now is a good time for me to request, all of you members to put on your videos, get onto your mic to be out, and let's, like I said, catch some starry with some hope and determination. We are entrepreneurs who chose to look at determination in spite of the difficulties, and we are going into, and what more way to start a new year by celebrating all of us together. I'm watching the YouTube messages, I'm watching the WhatsApp messages, it gives me a great sense of pride. And I pray, so before I really pray that the year phenomenal amount of change. So right, I think, Ravi, I think we should now stop the presentation, get everybody on screen, and Ullas and Deepak, please stay on. Ketan, please stay on. And our TAB business owners are also here, which means we have our facilitators, all the facilitators who actually do deserve some bit of pat on the back for the work that they did with their members, right? So all of us are on stage, so let's go. I would like to hear your experiences and thoughts. I don't want a lot of share it or stop it at any point in time. You can just unmute yourself, and Ravi will call out the name of the person and we can just speak. So Ravi, can you just stop the share of the screen so that we can see everybody's image?
Yeah, I've done that.
Great. Okay, that's perfect. So Ravi, over to you. I think you do a good job of facilitation. Over to you to sort of facilitate it and get some feedbacks from people.
Okay, so let me start with the winners first. I think all the people sitting here are winners, right? So let's start with the winners and all the people sitting here, the members who are sitting here, and if there is anything they would like to add, anything they would like to tell us. Can't hear you very well. Yeah, Piyush, go ahead.
I would like to say, as you guys rightly said, this was my major CSF this year. And I was personally thinking I was not faring well with my, employee management or skills or taking care of my people. But when we started our journey with Ramas earlier this year, and he made me realize that I do care about my people. But I think it's the language or the way you show it, it's also important. So I think that has been a major change in the way I've interacted with people, how I communicated with them through COVID. And yes, as a company, we took a lot of efforts and care to ensure that COVID didn't affect anybody's family or even life. And we have been successful. And I think that's how our employees have rewarded us with this high score. In fact, last 3 days, we just reminded them, and most of the surveys came in the last 2 days. So, but all the employees were, I thank them for filing the nominations for us, and thank you very much.
So this is an award for your employees, by the way.
Yeah, definitely. It's always been team.
I think it's amazing. Their reaction.
I would just like to state a simple fact. I used to go to my factory once a week before COVID. Yeah. And when the lockdown started, I went the first day during Dussehra. So 6 to 7 months, the whole team managed everything there. We had our own quarantine hotel. In fact, we had handed out sanitizers. We had given food to 100 people, 100 families in 2 villages. So a lot of effort, and they had all done it. They had all suggested it. I was sitting in my home comfortably saying yes or no, But yes, it's great for them, and the award is theirs and for the company. And
well
of course,
done,
to my
Piyush.
coach,
Very
Ramas,
well
and
done.
my board.
Really proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else wants to add something? Madhavan.
Yeah, this is TBO Pondicherry. Thank you, Tab India, Mr. Ravi, Mr. Raman. We have been troubling you a lot over the period of last 1 year. You have been taking things on your stride, and we have really had a wonderful experience, and hope this becomes greater as time goes by. So, thank you so much for all the support, particularly Ravi on a day-to-day basis. A lot of troubling to you. I think you have the energy and capacity to bear us.
Next year we want more TPOs to be part of this team, and we should do it together.
Yeah. So,
Finally, hi everybody.
Thank you so much, Madhavan.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Hi everybody.
Hey, Bharti.
Bharti, sir, hello.
Hi. Finally, I get a chance to see all of you on Zoom.
He was the backbone of this whole exercise, managing the whole technology bit. And I must say, Bharti, that it has without any much hitch. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And it was wonderful. Thanks. I think last 2 days was great. Congrats to everyone. Of course, I know almost everyone out here. While we get Ramas, I see Rajan smiling. What is it, Rajan?
No, it was nothing related to that.
Okay. Okay. Ramas actually had some issues with this machine, so he's kind of trying to get back.
Okay.
Yeah, you can proceed, Ravi. Others can also. I see others also who are.
Anil, where is Gaikwad? Gaikwad, I don't see.
Sir, Gaikwad will pay penalty for today also.
Okay.
Stuck somewhere. But yes, my first year in TAB, and really happy to have this award. It will encourage us. Of course, it's a difficult year, but Ravi sir, you know very well. This is a year wherein we were hopeful of doing good, and it has come true. Of course, TAB platform and the way we are doing it, StatPro, the KTM, the TAB meetings is helping us in a very, very big way to organize things. CSF, without CSF, can't think of anything, specifically me.
Nice.
So, yes, absolutely. I can go on and on and on this. But overall, yes, it's a teamwork, and we did it. The time is difficult, has been difficult for everybody, but it's enjoying. It's exciting and enjoying.
Yeah, it's been a great journey for all of us, I guess.
Yes.
I would like to invite Anand to say something here. Anand, the very quiet gentleman.
Yeah, good evening.
Anand, I must first of all congratulate you, because we really respect what you guys are doing. It's an amazing thing that you do this kind of pest control stuff in a very, very difficult time. We all understand it. While we are all very safely sitting at homes, you are actually taking care of it.
Yeah.
I must say you're a great service that you're doing. Yes, Anand, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Almost this year has changed our business, and it is a good year for us to think positively how we can do business. Even if I am at home, the business is on running. That's the way, the positive. And I dedicate to our staffs who worked on the front line, who did the disinfestation services, even to COVID positive residents also for commercials. So we have given much more care for our staffs who actually do the disinfestation services at the hospitals and the corporate offices. So, and I'm very happy to say that none of our staff are infected with COVID, even though they did for the positive places.
Amazing. Amazing.
Priority given for the safety of the technicians. That's I want to tell.
Very good work, Anand. Keep it up, yeah.
Yes, sir.
And Venkat, where is Venkat gone? Suddenly he's disappeared. Is he there?
Venkat is coming to the office here, sir. That's why he just left.
Oh. Rakesh is there. So Rakesh, you want to say something?
I need to thank my facilitator, All in Tab, for this COVID Warrior Award, sir. I thought I should do something for the society because as a responsible businessman, I thought, how should I contribute to the society? I thought, okay, we should take in this bread. So people were, in the lockdown period, the core lockdown period, people were, lots of our customers, lots of our customers used to call and say, you're not getting anything to eat. So I thought, I need to thank my employees also, they helped us in taking our breads and buns and normal rotis to almost all the Kirana stores, almost 90-80% of the Kirana store in our district. We didn't bother about the margin. We thought this is the responsible way to serve the society right now. So that's the reason. I once again thank All in Tab for this wonderful award, sir.
Sir, incidentally, the collector of Karaikal, he has awarded a food safety award for Rakesh yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that in the post.
So you have chosen the right person, sir.
Thank you,
congratulations, yeah, Rakesh. Great. Rajan, I thought you were a person who felt, I have not done much this year.
Let me
now you understand?
Let me validate that, or let me.
No. The fact that you got the award, the experts have decided.
No. Okay, so let me correct you like I tried to correct you in the board meeting. The fact is that it's not me who has gotten the award, and I'm really happy for the category of awards which were chosen. The COVID Warrior Award, truly the operations and support team in my company deserve that, and they have worked tirelessly without worrying about growth, etc. Anything. They have gone to data centers, they have gone all across the country, commissioning them, ensuring. One of the basic necessities that we realize today is up and running for all of us. And second, the innovation team, again, they have also worked 24/7, irrespective of the pandemic, in their homes, wherever they've been, and we've been able to roll out products. And I realized that yes, there is a lot of value. So again, I dedicate the award not for me, but for me, yes, I am not at all worthy. I will tell you when I need to be deserving to get the award, but yes, my team.
You will demand it.
Yeah, I'll demand it. Yeah.
Great. Anil, you want to say anything? How do you feel after the winning the award? You're on mute.
Sir, when employees do some good thing, we are there to motivate them and to encourage them. And it's like the inspirational speeches of the speakers really inspired us in the award which we got as in the category of growth. Really inspired me, and because the way the employees and as well as the partners, means especially all the business partners, even the vendors, were all supported in this growth, sir. And in the last 10 months, the entire energy is on the negative side. And but with a lot of positive energy, we put a lot of effort to support the customers, and this award is again means motivating us to do more better for the growth. And as well as we would try to get almost all the, we would work for almost to get all the awards next year. We would work for it.
Okay, it's all yours, Ramas.
Yeah, so just wanted to take a minute because we had the guests and dignitaries here. So I wanted to place a sincere thanks again to Ketan, because Ketan actually returned back after taking a break on a Saturday and being here with owners. And the fact that we still have so many owners, waiting on YouTube and going through the situation and celebration there. I don't want our discussions to go on where we impinge upon his time. So I really wanted to formally thank Ketan. And Ketan, I want you to sort of tell us a few things before you sort of, thank you, really. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot. The brand name is great. and your story of connecting it to entrepreneurs, I found it motivating.
No, thank you, Ramas. Thanks again for inviting this platform. As I said in my, so not going to bore people again talking the same thing, but it's something which is my personal passion, and I love the work which you do. The stories of some of the awards motivates us also, right, as large corporations, of how entrepreneurial spirit really brings in togetherness and really fight it out in tough times. So my best wishes to all of you in this great journey. Keep doing the great work. And of course, I missed being physically present this time, but definitely will try to make up in any of your upcoming events to meet all of you in person. But thank you so much for inviting. Keep doing the great work. Congratulations for the great event.
Thank you, Ketan. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ketan.
Thank you. And similarly, it's my honor to continue to thank Ullas and Deepak, both of whom we had blocked their time till 6. But this is beyond the conference. So formally, the conference is done. Now we are sort of trying to catch up with people whom we love, hear their experiences, hear the owners speak. So Deepak and Ullas, thank you very much for being here. As always, you are indeed important to us. So back to you, Ravi. Bhavesh, did you want to say anything? I thought you were wanting to.
Yeah, Ramas, I was actually waiting patiently for you to come. And although this year you didn't have any TBO awards, but I think the best TBO award should go to Madhavan this year.
Yeah, true. That's a good idea, actually.
That's a good idea.
So next year I'm going to fight Madhavan very hard, but this year it should go to Madhavan.
That's a very nice gesture. Okay, so I think we have covered all people, I think, Ramas. So
great. So thank you. I'm sure we'll get more opportunities to meet. And if Madhavan around, then I want to hear him give his.
No, I think Madhavan dropped out actually.
Oh, is it okay? Because he's a guy who will also give his acceptance speech, right?
Nice. Oh, he's already done that, by the way.
He's already done that, is it? Okay. So, thank you very much, guys. I mean, very blessed with the initial members. We are in the participation phase, and every one of you has been a well-wisher, and our organization is built brick by brick with each one of you. So thank you very much. We would like to formally call this conference to an end and appreciate each one of your time. And God bless. Let's do a whacking great new year ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.